Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Dominate Open Week 3 matchup between CR and NITA, or NITA. I am Cole. Joining me on this cast is Goldline, your streamer is Rando Joe, and we're going to be going through an exciting best of three between two solid teams. Interesting matchup across the board. Should be a really even match between the two teams with a lot of kind of discrepancies across the map. And we're going to be getting into draft as soon as possible. We're just waiting on the teams to ready up right this moment.
And this is going to be a pretty good determining matchup between these two teams. They're both actually sitting at the bottom of Group D at the moment. CR being 1-1 and Nita being 0-2. So whoever wins this game is actually give themselves some either even it up or buy themselves some space within that group for as far as the split goes.
Yeah, of course, if you're CR, you want to win this matchup because that puts you right in a position. It's close to a playoff position. You've only dropped one game in your group, so that's obviously ideal. Nita losing this game would be disastrous. That makes coming back and making it into the playoffs very difficult. So they have a must-win matchup here. They really do need to be able to pull it out if they want to be looking at it. Otherwise, they're going to need to have a huge turnaround in the second half of the season. They're going to need to beat some opponents that they lost to during the first half. So hopefully they've got something in mind to pull this game out. Otherwise, it's going to be CR. I think the favorites going into this, just based on record alone, with the shared opponent, CR has won a match that Nita has not. So
most likely, and both teams do have some notable players from the Risen server on both sides, but I think, as far as name base goes alone, it also favors CR in that place. Most people know their players a little bit more, so that kind of helps to sway people's vote just a little bit.
The good news, however, is that League of Legends is not a popularity contest. It is a battle on the Rift, Summoner's Rift 5v5. Whatever team destroys the Nexus is the team that's going to win the game. So we don't need to worry too much about who's got the name recognition, who doesn't. It's all going to be about who has the in-game chops to pull it out. Some interesting strats potentially being played. There's a lot of interesting meta evolving right now in these couple weeks. It'll be cool to see if any of these teams try to pull out the stuff that we've been seeing in LCS, in LEC. The Sonatark strat, something that should be on everyone's mind going into this week. Not sure if teams have been practicing it, but that's something to keep an eye out for, as well as different priority picks emerging in the jungle and top lane, thanks to the giant buffs to various different tanks that may shift us back into a tank meta going into this week's matchups that we haven't seen in the first few weeks of the Risen season.
And already we are seeing a lot of the power picks taken away. Garen, even though most people might think it's not the strongest pick around, he actually did get a huge buff to his defenses on 9.7, so his passive laning power is actually much stronger than it used to be, so he gets to provide all of his damage and some additional tankies now. Morgana's a really strong pick taken away. Her updates have made her a strong pick, so that's a really solid ban as well. Vayne and Syndra, they're both made their way back to the meta as well, so these are all really strong bans right now.
Yeah, and I think with Vayne particularly, it's making sure that Lambo Mercy can't just 1v9 the game. You're really worried about that happening. One of the better players on Nita, so making sure that Vayne isn't available really can limit an AD carry's carry potential come late game. The other two bans, Ori and Syndra, both targeting Diamond 5. Interestingly, not a ban of the Nico, which is the main for Diamond 5. So they're letting the Nico stay up, almost daring Nita to pick it. So we'll see if they do. Instead, it's just going to be the Kai'Sa this first rotation. Normally, teams do like to pick the bot lanes early on to hide their solo lanes. It's a pretty standard strategy. So, Ram, a big support power pick. Kai'Sa, a big AD carry power pick. Nothing too exciting coming out so far in this draft, other than, of course, that Garen ban, because the buff to his resistances makes him essentially unkillable.
Yeah, it's definitely a pain something you don't would do. We do see the Thresh joining Kai'Sa for Nita's bot lane. That's a very strong, safe bot lane you can take for their side. You don't have to worry about showing anything right off the bat there. Thresh and Kai'Sa, that is a lot of power if Thresh is able to land that hook, which is a very strong counter to Braum, because through the shield, Thresh doesn't care about that when that goes on. That's a really strong or safe pick from Nita's side.
Yeah, and there are some answers to Thresh Kai'Sa. Of course, if Thresh lands the hook, Kai'Sa can go in. CR is going to say we don't really want to worry too much about your bot lane. Sejuani, a big power pick in the jungle, really solid engage. Braum and Sejuani combined have insane lockdown between their two different stuns that can stack off of their teammates' auto attacks. So that's something to look out for if you're Nita. The pick is already gigantic for CR. They're picking aggressive engage tools here. So Nita's going to need to keep that in mind as they go through the rest of the draft, either with counter engage or with safe picks that can somehow get out of a Sejuani R or get away from Braum if they need to.
Especially coupled with the Tristana, she does have her jump to follow up on the Braum. Shivani dives really hard, so if they can get a good gank in this bot lane, that's going to be really strong gank potential. And even in the mid game, those scrappy fights, Tristana can do a really good job staying in range of Braum's engage and following up on his passive to get those concussive blows off. Nita is taking Rek'Sai. That's probably the strongest power pick the jungle has to offer right now, with how fast she can stack her Fury on top of the Conqueror. That's pretty much always a safe ban or safe pick on the side of Nita to counter the power that Crab Rave is going to be offering.
Yeah, of course, Rek'Sai has been nerfed a little bit in patch 9.6, so that's been out for almost 2.5 weeks now. But her ult is now a whole lot less damaging than it used to be, which makes her a little less scary in the jungle, but still certainly a power pick. With Tremor Sense, she's great at spotting out invades, spotting out roams. She's always going to be strong as long as her stats aren't in the gutter. And Riot thankfully brought her back to relevance just a couple months ago, so she's been a power pick for this entire season. A decent answer to Sejuani. Not great at 1v1ing the tank, but the early pressure is definitely greater. Rek'Sai can pull off ganks a little sooner than Sejuani can, and scales into threatening the carries a little better. Though into Tristana and Braum and Sejuani, maybe not ideal. It's going to be hard for her to kill the 80 carry, but we'll see about what CR picks in the mid lane. Maybe Rek'Sai wants to be camping better top instead. Some interesting bans, by the way. I'm going to let you talk about those.
Yeah, that's definitely interesting, because we were talking about Zoe's going to be a pretty strong pick that Nita might want, but they're actually the ones who are electing to ban that away from Crab Rave on their side. Victor's also being banned out. That must be a targeted ban of something they must know is going on there. I did see it was a kind of a common pick on the side of Crab Rave, but not a whole lot. He's definitely gone down in power during the last few patches since the nerfs to his mana and the Klepto nerfs that happened a while back. They are going with the Kale instead, so that could be why they did want to ban out the Victor. They didn't want to deal with the range-on-range matchup that he could offer her.
Yeah, Earl King on the side of Crab Rave is a Victor and Zoe main. Those are the two primary mid champions. He's in essence the primary carry of Crab Rave as well, so getting him off of his most comfortable champions and onto something a little less conventional, probably a good idea. Crab Rave banning Jace is pretty interesting because Jace is among his top mid lane picks as well, so they're denying that from themselves. Nita definitely prioritizing mid lane though here. They're saving the counter pick for it. I'd imagine that's probably Kale top, so Camille's the answer into that, and then they're going to get a counter pick mid for Diamond 5. Which, again, Crab Rave is daring them to take the Nico, so we'll see if they do that with their last counter pick.
Yeah, they are definitely wanting to go that direction for the moment. Camille is a very strong answer to Kale as far as early game goes, since she is a very strong level 2, level 3, and it's kind of, can really abuse Kale's early laning phase. They are going to elect to put the Ahri in the mid lane, so it does confirm Camille is going to be the top there. They're probably planning on Kale going up top as well, like you mentioned. It's going to be curious to see how Nita decides to address his Ahri pick in the mid lane.
Now, I want to point out, just on the side of Crab Rave, how much pick they have. And Zillion actually is a great answer to that. I really like that pick here. It's interesting for their team comp, but I think it does counter what Crab Rave wants to do a little bit. With Camille, Ahri, Sejuani, and Braum, you have 4 champions that can pick someone and make them dead in an instant. So Zillion, of course, is a pick that is hoping to answer that. You pop the R on the target that they go for, and then they get the revive. But something I'm worried about here is that once Crab Rave gets the engage and gets the pick, I'm not entirely convinced that Zillion R is going to be enough to save whoever goes down. Kale and Zillion both really good at keeping a single target alive. This comp is almost in essence a protect the Kai'Sa comp. She's going to be a lot of the damage in addition to Kale. So someone needs to get both of those ultimates. Rek'Sai can go in and have a Kale R and then a Zillion R on top to keep that Rek'Sai alive for the duration of a fight. But not a whole lot of synergy other than that coming out of Nita's comp, whereas Crab Rave has a very, very clear idea in mind. We have ultimates and abilities that can single a target out and make them dead before they can react.
Yeah, it's very targeted on the side of Crab Wave. So as far as the ease of execution goes, it definitely goes in their benefit. And as you mentioned, it is a lot easier to pick someone off than it is to keep someone alive. So if Nita can execute their comp correctly, it might work out for them, but it's going to be a lot more difficult on their side than it will be as far as Crab Rave goes.
Yeah, with a pick like Kale, you're already saying, all right, we need to get to level 16. We need to get 3 items on this Kale. We need to get to late game. We need to be alive. We need to be fighting still. We can't be so far behind that Kale can't carry. And getting to late game requires good execution against a team with as many different go-in buttons as Crab Rave. Just a little misstep or misposition from Nita, one bad fight where they say, we can contest this dragon, and it turns out that they can't, and they're going to be looking at a snowball that's going to run them over. So I think, as you said, in terms of ease of execution, Crab Rave definitely has the superior comp here. In terms of late game damage and team fighting at the very end of the game, maybe Nita has an argument that Kale and Kaisa with a Zillion to back them up can run Crab Rave over. That's certainly going to melt a Sejuani and a Camille. But is it going to be enough is the question, and that's something that we're going to need to have to see once we get into game.
I agree with that completely. While they do have that late game damage in their favor with a combined late game of Kaisa, Kale, Zillion does offer a good bit of damage in a late game on top of the Rex side, being a carry jungler as well. But Crab Rave isn't too far behind in the damage department as far as Ari's picks, Camille late game, and also Tristana as far as her scaling goes. That's still a whole lot of damage to offer on their side as well.
Yeah, and one of the interesting things about Camille Kale, right, is that it's going to be split pushing, especially from Camille. Once she gets 3 or 4 items, she gets insane high damage. She can almost two-shot champions with just her Q. So Kale actually might struggle to deal with the Camille push. If the Kale's behind, especially, Camille can just run that Kale over even through R. So we're going to need to see how top lane goes this game. Kale's going to need to hold on. It's really a passive pick, looking at Sejuani, looking at Camille, looking at Tristana Braum as well. Of course, you didn't see the Camille at the time, but I really like that as a counter pick. I think it makes a lot of sense, and it makes sure that Kale really doesn't have anywhere to go, because Camille art lasts about the same duration as Kale ult, so all you gotta do is sit there and wait, and then kill her after it.
Exactly. The new kill ult, she normally doesn't want to use that on herself. It is a nice escape tool, but as far as actually a 1v1 fighting tool, it does lock her out of her auto attack. So while it does do damage when it blows up there at the end, you're not really making use of that invulnerability time. You're just buying yourself some time to hopefully have a teammate come and get to you or escape the fight. You definitely aren't going to be taking the 1v1 fairly against a Camille.
And of course, Camille is a melee range or melee champion with Sejuani. That means that the two of them can stack up a stun on Kale very quickly. So it's going to be a lot of lockdown when Sejuani ganks top lane. A little less lockdown coming down from Rek'Sai. A little less lockdown in general coming out from Nita. They do have CC. They do have the ability to get picks on their own. But a lot of this is going to come down to Diamond 5's Zillion, I think, needing to land these double bombs. For Nita to win a team fight, I think you're going to need to see Diamond 5 landing a double Zillion bomb, or 2 or at least 3 champions of Crab Rave, in order for them to have a fighting chance until the very late game when Kale has just absurd damage. It'll be interesting as well to see what the Kale builds. Of course, AP has a solid early game, doesn't quite scale as hard. The AD build, it has that Blade of the Ruin King first item power spike that's really, really strong. It also scales into late game, but not in the same way. It's kind of different whether you want to maximize your true damage, whether you want to maximize your execute on your abilities, or whether you want to just have the DPS on your auto attacks, the 1v1 duelist potential. So we're going to need to look out and see what that Kale's building into this Camille. It's going to be very critical to see how this game plays out. In addition, again, to how that Zillion can execute, how well that Kaisa can stay alive in the face of all of these threats that are just going to want to kill her. And a Thresh support, which isn't really great for Peel. It can certainly do defensive things. Thresh can throw a lantern, land a hook on someone that's diving onto Kaisa, drop the box to keep a team from collapsing, but not the Lulu or Janna that you might want in order to keep your AD carry alive in the face of so many different divers and threats that are just going to say, hey, let's kill the Kaisa.
And Thresh isn't as tanky as he used to be. He does get armor as it stacks up through the game, which is a pretty good stat to have against the comp that Crab Rave is bringing to the table. But like you mentioned, he doesn't really want to peel back in fights. He usually wants to go forward. He wants to play people into his team. He wants to hook and fly into the enemy team and start the fight and fight on his terms. So it's unfortunately the way Nita's comp is set up there, it is going to be up to Diamond 5 to land those double bombs, as you mentioned, because if Thresh isn't able to land those hooks or get into this fight, it's going to be really rough to execute their team fight.
Yeah, in any case, we have now hit the spectator delay. We have a quick look at summoner spells. Interestingly, Zillion is taking Cleanse. It makes sense into Sejuani R as well as RE. We're getting hit by one of those spells is certain doom if you don't have the Cleanse, so good execution on that. I believe that's the right choice when laning. Everything else is absolutely standard. We see Ignite from RE, teleports from both top laners, Ignite on both supports. Nothing else to mention. But until we get into game, we're going to take a brief break. And it should be in about 2 minutes. We will see you all on the Rift.
Welcome back to the Rift, everybody. This is Goldline, bringing you the play-by-play, and I'm joined here today by Cole with the color commentary. We do see everybody get onto the Rift here real quick. Looks like they're going to be going for a standard setup, 5-point safety as far as the teams want to go here, see what they're going for. As far as jungle pathing or the early game plan, what do you think they're going to go for, Cole?
Ideally, if you're the Rek'Sai, you want to start on the bot side of the map so that you can get your red buff and get off as many red buff ganks as possible. You don't really need the red buff to have a healthier clear. You really just want to use it to get a little extra damage down on your ganks, a little more pressure. Rek'Sai really does want to be asserting an early presence on the map, doing more than the Sejuani is just in the first few levels before getting into that farming phase and getting to level 6 as quickly as possible. From Sejuani, I don't think anything too exciting. I think you're going to do a standard clear, try to find yourself a single scuttle, get both your buffs. You got a 5-point spread to make sure you don't get invaded. And then you're just going to go from there. Gank lanes that are overextended. Nothing too out of the ordinary. Sejuani's not known for needing to reinvent the wheel to play this game. And I say that Rek'Sai should be starting to get the red buff later, but instead we see a topside jungle start. So immediately I'm disregarded. But whatever.
I was gonna throw that curveball in there, but we do see the jungle starting on the opposite side of the maps here, which is so Sejuani is gonna be doing a standard build, Rek'Sai breaking the normal, actually following Kale for just a moment, but actually gonna make a way to the Krugs, trying to maybe get that level 3 they were talking about as soon as possible. Sejuani sneaking in through the bot side, trying to get that Scuttle Crab Light you mentioned, actually looking for that cheesy level 2. Let's see if it's a game thing here. They do burn a flash of Braum, goes all in on the Kai'Sa, she's ready to burn her flash. Thresh burns his flash as well, does get stunned up still, and he's actually going to go down to Ignite, and Tristana picks it up for super fast first blood.
And immediately you see the power of the Sejuani and the Braum. First the Sejuani passive goes, then the Braum passive goes. It's a stun and another stun. You're just not allowed to move. It's so much lockdown between just those two champions. And something I didn't get to say about the early pathing is that Rek'Sai does have good pathing with red and Krugs. Normally I prefer to do that pathing when I'm on the blue side because it opens up the door to earlier ganks. Instead it works out for Rek'Sai because this is going to be a 2-buff start vertical jungling now with the Sejuani cheese gang. Sejuani from Backpack intelligently going in, understanding that Rek'Sai probably hasn't taken her blue. So they're going to be vertical jungling, but Sejuani already got that first kill down. So immediately more effective than that Rek'Sai, and all it took was 1 level.
And they also burned a lot on the side of Nita and trying to get away from that and still failing. They burned both flashes and the heal. And the guys still have their Ignite, but they only traded for Braum's flash and Ignite on their side.
Yeah, so it's they've got a little less kill pressure out of Crab Rave now that Braum is out of Summoner Spells and out of Ignite, but you really hate to see that if you're Nita. You do not want the early kill going on to this Tristana. It was well done by Crab Rave to make sure that Cage was the one picking up that kill. And
we do actually see Backpack going in for another gank on Diamond 5. Diamond 5 is going to be able to kind of slip out here, but he gets stunned up, burns the cleanse right away. Tries to get away from the already get flashed over the wall. He gets away. Rek'Sai actually returning to gank at this point. It might actually be able to get Earl King. It actually goes down to that fight.
And now they're going to look for Backpack too.
Yeah, they're actually still wanting to chase this a little further, and Backpack's hanging on to his flash and actually greeted his flash. Didn't burn it at all, but does also give 2 kills over to Pepsi Dog on the Rek'Sai.
Well, I was speaking about how Sejuani already had a more effective early game, and then Rek'Sai got a double kill, so
yeah,
that's great for Pepsi Dog. That's really what you want to do on Rek'Sai. You're stronger in those 2v2s when you're against Sejuani. You've got much more damage, much more promise in those fights, so you see when so many cooldowns are burned trying to get on the Diamond 5 and no kill ends up coming down, then suddenly they're overextended, they're out of all their spells, and there's a Rek'Sai with a red buff ready to fight them.
Yeah, that does feel really bad at that point because you don't get anything out of your game. They did burn both summoners out of Diamond 5, and Earl King still has his Ignite, so he might be able to get some kill pressure back at that point. Meanwhile, we do see some trading in the top lane. Both Kale and Camille actually about the exact same health and mana at this point, so Kale's actually not having the worst early game either.
Which you love to see if you're Nita. Having a Kale that's up a little bit of CS, sustaining just fine against Camille, that's great. I think this lane will get harder for Kale once Camille sticks, because then the pressure of ganks is just really, really hard to cope with. Kale is not going to save Kale in a 1v2.
Hernandez does land that hook, but they realize suddenly that Sejuani is making her way up the lane. They actually get the stun on Hernandez again with the Braum Q, and he's going to go down a second time to Cage.
Yeah, and of course, no flash on that Thresh, so it's a really smart play from Crab Rave. They say, hey, this Thresh has no flash, why don't we just repeat the gank we just did and get a kill a second time? As soon as that Braum stun lands, it's curtains for Hernandez on Thresh. There's no way to get out of that, so just needed to not be quite so far up, needed to avoid the stun. You got to respect that a singular Braum kill, or Q, will be followed up with a Tristana jump in, and then that stun is pretty much a death sentence.
Yeah, I think they're getting a little antsy there, which is a common thing for Thresh players. Can they have the old-fashioned Lee syndrome? They want to land their hook and go forward the whole time. But meanwhile, actually, Pepsi Dog's returning a gank to Earl King, but Earl King's going to walk right over to his jungle on the top side there. Backpack's going to keep him nice and safe. They're going to ward that, make sure everything's clear to go. Pepsi Dog should be able to clear that out with no problem now.
Yeah, as we saw, the Zilean and Rek'Sai has a stronger 2v2 at this point in the game, so they're able to assert themselves mid lane. Taking a fight for Crab Rave there would be a very poor decision, so they're going to back away. They give up the pink ward, and a nice smite from Pepsi Dog to secure that Scuttle Crab.
Yeah, he just walked in there, bullied him right away from that Scuttle. He decided to walk up and take that away. Backpack did have his smite and decided not to use that as well. Maybe decided that the fight wasn't worth taking.
I think it was just well executed. I think Pepsi Dog, it was too healthy for Smite to hit it, and the auto and Smite came down at the exact same time, so there was never a window for Backpack to steal it away. But in any case, this early game definitely working out for Crab Rave. They're actually behind 600 gold just due to farm differential. The Rek'Sai is able to power farm so much harder than the Sejuani. But the 2 kills on Tristana are big. I think with Nita trying to scale with the KO, with the Kai'Sa, with the Zilean, they enjoy their lead, actually, but Tristana's going to be a threat. Just one person with enough damage to make kills.
Oh, and the KO walks right into Backpacks. Sejuani gets a stun there. Camille's able to jump right over the wall and get that. He's going to stall for a little bit of time with ult, but the cage does come down and pick up a kill for best James Bond.
Yeah, and like we said, there's no surviving that if you are Kale and there is a Sejuani and a Camille in your lane. Camille ult is all that's necessary. Kale couldn't even flash away to survive there. So though they don't burn the flash, they pick up the kill. Camille's starting to snowball now. A little extra gold is going to be enough to sway that lane in the Camille's favor. And now back on Sejuani just has so many different targets staying. Zilean still has no flash for another minute or so. Kale is still going to be free, even with flash up. And they can probably blow flashes in the bot lane with another gank as well. So Backpack's having a ton of early pressure. I really like the way that he's been gank heavy. He's behind the Rek'Sai, but he's getting his lanes ahead. Tristana up 2 kills, Camille up 2 kills. Rek'Sai having all the gold on the side of Nita is not really what you want when your late game carries are the Kai'Sa and the Kale.
Especially when all the early gold is sitting on Pepsi Dog, if he doesn't actually do anything with that gold and just continues to power farm for the moment, that's not actually doing anything with that gold difference that he has right now.
Something really interesting, if the streamer can go to the gold values, is that in the top lane, up a kill and up 7 CS, best James Bond on Camille is actually even in gold for Lil Sejong. So I think that we see that perhaps Kale's a little better at lasting those cannon creeps is the only thing I can imagine would be making up for that difference. We don't see any plates down, so I think that's the explanation there, as well as the power of Kleptomancy, which is a very fun rune.
Yeah, everybody loves Kleptomancy, except for everybody who's not running it. At that point, yeah, so that does seem to be going in Kale's favor, because, you know, Kale's definitely one of those champions right now that going even is winning for her.
Yeah, it's absolutely ideal. But again, we'll have to see. There's so much kill pressure. It's going to be hard to go even if you're respecting games.
Oh, Montusk actually jumps in to get another flash there. Oh, and all of a sudden, Caves jumps in as well. Did not see the Rek'Sai until the last moment. Jumps into his death. They take down Braum, and Pepsi Dog ults in, gets knocked back by Cage, but it is actually going to go slide out. Actually, tower finishes off there at that point. So it is currently 2 for 1 in favor of Red side. They're actually quite happy with how that turned out.
Yeah, well played by Nita. A really late teleport channel from Best James Bond just gets there way too late. A whiffed ult by Backpack, also very unfortunate. We saw that the Rek'Sai nerfed her ult damage did matter a little bit, but everything about that play came out on top of Nita. Really unfortunate timing for Cage and Montusker to go in. They sent in the Tristana jump the instant that Rek'Sai showed up in that lane, so that means that you've got no escape and you've got really no hope of getting out. So, well executed gank. Unfortunately, both kills on the Rek'Sai again, so this game is really going to be on Pepsi Dog to carry. That Rek'Sai is the one champion on the side of Nita that's going to fall off, so they really do want to get some of this gold onto their other carries if they're going to want to have a chance.
One good thing out of that, I know both Lil Sejong and Best James Bond both burned their teleports in the top lane and came down to those fights, and they actually didn't get very much out of it. The Kale did get his assist. He's going to be getting back to lane first in the top lane. Has a huge minion wave to collect for that Kale, so he's actually pretty happy how that part worked out for him.
Yeah, I don't like Best James Bond's teleport there. I'm gonna say that it was just not a good teleport. Either it needed to be about 15 seconds earlier, or it needed to not happen. By the time that teleport actually finished channeling, the fight was already over. There was nothing left to be done other than clean up the wave and recall. So I think staying top lane, getting some plates was definitely the superior idea there. Once you're too late to make the play, you don't need to teleport anyway. You should just say, I'll keep my teleport advantage. We've already lost that fight. Someone can hold the wave other than me, and I'm going to sit back and get a bit of a lead for myself. Sometimes being greedy is better for the team, and right there you see Kale now actually ahead on gold. So that's going to be huge for the side of Nita. With Kale up on Camille, that's really a dream come true.
Yeah, it does leave them actually up 1k gold so far, so the whole scaling plan does seem to be favoring them. They're actually chasing Backpack now a little bit, probably trying to get some cheeky poke down and keeping their vision safe to make sure that this Kale is able to continue to scale as easily as possible. But not much else is coming out of it. We're just going to see Backpack going back to the base, maybe reset a little bit, while Diamond 5 and Pepsi Dog gets control of the river actually on the top side.
Yeah, and I don't like the fact that Backpack was bot lane for that play. I think if I'm Backpack, I really want to be topside. Nice.
Oh, they're actually looking to catch out Montasker. Yeah, that was really good ult to keep themselves safe there. Hernandez looking for that hook. Actually, Cade jumps in. They decided to go take this 2v2. They they have Earl King flashing over the wall with the Ari and ult in and just deletes both of Nita's bot lane for free.
Yeah, an interesting play there. For a moment there, I think Nita thought that they had caught out Montusker. The really good defensive Braum ult saying, actually, I'm going to make sure I don't die here. Leads into that Ari roam from Earl King, getting those 2 kills, and now a Dragon on top of that. So, excellently played by Crab Rave, good understanding of the situation. A unique flash from Earl King to get over the wall.
Oh, they're actually going all in at top lane. Best James Bond actually tried flashing away from the Kale's ult and then went back in a little bit too early and ate the damage there and died. And meanwhile, the Dragon fight, they actually are able to get the Dragon on the side of Crab Rave, but Rek'Sai does get the kill on the Braum, but they go down to the Tristana right afterwards, so they do trade 1-for-1 and lose the Drake.
Yeah, so on the whole of the map,
and they get Earl King also trying to slip out there with the Zillion bomb. He stayed there for a moment too long as well.
So all for all on Nita, that they get 3 kills, they give up a kill, and they give up a Dragon. I think if you're them, you absolutely take that. The solo kill from Kale is probably the biggest thing there. That's going to really start snowballing that lane. But now you've got a kill on the Zillion as well. You're starting to get gold on people other than that Rek'Sai. Kale is already becoming a monster. Level 11's just around the corner. The Camille not able to play that well enough to secure the 1v1 kill. So Kale is terrifying. I think if you are Crab Rave, you need to find a way to shut that down right now before it gets too out of control and your Camille gets solo killed the second time.
And we do see the Kale going for the Nashor's Tooth, so for the AP build. Actually, Montusker stepped up into the thresh, trying to hold that minion wave, and actually just gets hooked out and dies right away without his flash or ignite. That was a really greedy play, trying to hold that minion wave. You get the idea of what he wanted to go for, but wasn't exactly a good idea without his AD carry there.
Yeah, and with no ult this time to keep him alive, it's going to be death this time around, so that's a dead Braum. Nita's actually going to take that opportunity to just recall, so Tristana not going to get punished with farm on that part.
You see Camille eat his safety there, but they are looking to really get this Kale farther ahead. They're actually thinking that, the bot lane's able to take care of themselves right now.
Yeah, I think so. If you're Nita, you're looking now at 2, maybe 3 winning lanes. You're down a little CS mid, but Zillion's not going anywhere. Ari's never going to kill him. It's pretty easy to maintain priority by just slapping some bombs on the wave and then walking away. So it's pretty free for Nita to go wherever they want, do whatever they want. Backpack.
Yeah, they actually do know they're taking the Herald and jumps in there. They're actually get caught 3v1, but you see Diamond 5 does burn his ult. Actually, he's not dying yet. So his ult actually didn't go off. He didn't actually get the resurrection there. They do get the ult off on the Pepsi Dog and get the kill onto Camille before it goes down. Diamond 5 doesn't die at all. Backpack is able to get the kill onto Rek'Sai, but isn't able to finish it off there. We do see Braum pick up the kill at that point, but I do believe he was able to pick up the Eye of the Herald. Yeah, he was. He did get it picked up before he died, and that actually gives him a lot of free time on the bot lane.
Yeah, that's going to be first turret for the side of Nita, as well as, again, another favorable trade. They end up going 3 for 2 there, so they get more kills than they lose. Another kill on Kale, another 2 kills on the Zillion, first turret, a Herald. They're snowballing this game with a late game comp, which is pretty interesting to see. I can't say I expected it, but really well executed by them. The damage from the Rek'Sai just enough. The fact that Diamond 5 lived through that fight is completely absurd. Sitting on 2 HP for the entire time was really crazy. Well played by Pepsi Dog to make sure that
they actually burned the flash out of Montusker. He's actually not able to get away from this since he wasted the flash to get away from the hook. I'd already missed him, but actually he does able to get to jump away to Cage. Cage did have to burn the heal to keep the support alive, but that's actually, after that, a little bit of a rough start there in the bot lane, they're actually doing a good job getting themselves back in the game.
Yeah, with the Buster Shot, Montusker stays alive, but the cost here is going to be the mid turret. Herald's going down. It might be a second mid turret, too. Nita's saying, we know we're stronger at this point. Our KL has hit level 11. Come fight us. We have a Herald. And it's going to be hard for Crab Rave to do anything about it unless they can find a pick, which is hard when a team's grouped up 5v5 in the mid lane. Much more difficult to pick someone when they're grouped like that.
We do see both teams flashing their mastery modes a little bit at each other. Not actually going to get a lot out of that Herald. They dropped it as they were taking that turret, so Deli didn't even get a hit on an outer turret, and they were grouped up in time to protect their second turret. Just get some good chip damage there, so they're able to get here later. Actually, the Camille just wanders into four of them and bounces back into the thresh, goes down right away before he can actually get his ult off. And then at that point, Backpack tries to fall in a little too late. Also goes down to the Kale. They are able to resurrect the Rek'Sai with the Zillion Bomb. They take down Braum without his flash. He goes straight down to the Kale as well. That's 4 kills on the Kale now, already at 16 minutes.
That was an inadvisable E from James Bond. Is the most polite way I can put that one. The E on the wall to get out was there, and then instead of getting out, that's James Bond said, how about I go back in? That'll be fine. I have a Zillion, right? And quickly learned that the Zillion is actually on the other team. So that was a free kill to start the fight, I guess.
I'm gonna speak on his behalf and maybe say that's a communication issue. Maybe he's getting ready to E out and his team decided to take the fight, so he went in a little bit too early. Maybe that's what happened, but there could be a chance that he just got a little too excited and thought he could take on the Zillion 1v1 and thought, wait, maybe that's my teammate, and forgot that it wasn't.
Yeah, sure, benefit of the doubt. But whatever the plan was, it was a Camille going in 1v5 and getting blown up. The one kill that Crab Rave would have gotten was mitigated by the Zillion ult. Kale ult also there. Kale didn't even get hit in that fight, was able to sit in the back line and just get free damage down onto that Sejuani. So huge for Nita. They're able to secure a dragon as well, so they're looking to take over this game at this point. Some well-picked fights, some poor execution on the side of Crab Rave, and now they are much stronger. Nita much stronger, that is.
And we do see that Kale just hit the level 11 points, so she has the range permanently now. She doesn't have to worry about building up their stacks to get to the range points, so she actually doesn't even need help at the moment with how strong she is. She has the Master Tooth and the Rage Blade, so she is just able to clear these waves for free. We do see Montusker and Cage trying to set up a little cheeky. Maybe they are trying to jump onto the Kale, or just maybe keep themselves safe. Oh, they actually are looking to get onto the Kale, but she's super fast with her heals, so she's actually going to be super safe in this 1v2.
Yeah, and I don't think that they can dive a Kale even if they play it damn near perfectly. There's just not enough CC from Braum alone to keep the Kale from doing enough damage. Braum's going to have to be the one taking the turret, so Kale can just focus him down. And just a few turret shots in addition to Kale's damage will be more than enough. Kale ult and a couple turret shots, probably enough to execute Montusker alone. With a few auto tags thrown in, that's really all you need. So with only one person sitting topside, you're free to fight the 4v3 on the rest of the map. Instead, it looks like Nita's sending their AD carry and Rek'Sai up there, maybe looking to get some kills and take that last outer turret from the side of Crab Rave.
Yeah, and right now Hernandez is just kind of roaming around the map trying to see if he can get his death sentence onto anybody useful at the moment. So I do like to see, they actually do try it all in onto the Diamond 5, but he's able to cleanse it right away and uses ult to get out safely. That does burn both ults out of Earl King and Backpack on the Sejuani, so that's actually 2 huge ults down for pretty much nothing. And he actually gets a hook on the Montusker. Yeah, he gets hooked in right in the middle of their teamfight. He does get a good ult off, and actually is able to pop the Thresh before he goes down. And they actually pop the Rek'Sai as well. They don't have the Zillion ult to save him. And so Camille actually gets a really good teleport into the backline and gets over the wall and kills the Kaisa. But Kale is here now. Or has the stacks up and just blows up best James Bond. And actually getting speed up by Diamond 5 here. Oh my goodness, the Kale is just shredding everybody down. If she can get her E onto this Tristana, she's going to go down as well. The Zillion Kale speed up combo is actually deadly.
It was so good by Crab Rave until it wasn't good anymore. They took a really good fight. They burned the Zillion ult with the Sejuani engage on the Diamond 5. So the pick on the Thresh came in clean. The follow-up kill came in clean. They were looking really strong. They got an advantageous trade. They'd only lost their support. They picked up 3 kills. And then best James Bond walked into a Kale and didn't do anything and died.
Yeah. It was up until and they were winning up until they were losing. Is basically the best way to put it. And they've done that 3 or 4 times in a row now. It's definitely starting to hurt them really badly because Best James Bond did just finish a Triforce on the Camille. That's usually a point where you want to be feeling, but he hasn't finished his boots yet. While Kale has finished 2 items, sitting on her Berserker Trees as well. So her attack speed is ready to go, and is so far ahead on the power curve right now.
Yeah, Crab Rave needed to win that fight, refocus, and say, we can take Baron. We're stronger than them. We have 4-on-2.
And we do see a little bit of a brawl in the river at the moment. Hernandez and Backpack going at it, but the Earl King does get there first and gets the Trauma on the Rek'Sai. Rek'Sai's going to go golden for the moment, keep him alive. Yep, and they actually do get the ult off on the Pepsi Dog in time. They also get the ult onto Kale to slow him down a little bit there, but they actually popped. Wow, they actually took down the Kale before he even could get his ult. I don't think he was expecting to take that much damage so quickly.
Yeah, the charm came in too. You can't cast ult on yourself when you're charmed, so there was enough damage in that Ari burst to make the Kale go by.
Oh, and they actually landed charm again on Pepsi Dog. He was greeting a little bit, trying to find a little extra kill for himself there, and they actually punished him really hard for that.
And this game is quickly becoming a fiesta.
Yeah, it's a battle of what team gets more greedy at this point. Who wants to throw harder at it? Because during the meantime, that Best James Bond was able to clear out the bottom lane turn first to get a little gold back on their side. And Diamond 5 just walking in the middle of 4 people on his side. He does not have gold back up to get himself to safety. And they actually tag Lambo Mercy with the Braum Q. He burns Flash there and gets smited down by Backpack. And that's actually going to leave the Baron wide open.
And Camille is still split pushing bot lane while this has happened, by the way. They've gotten all of these kills with only 4 members of their team. And this Baron should be pretty free. Backpack Smite not going to be up, so they've got to look out for that. But Montusker is doing a...
The Kale did teleport. It's actually blinking behind him and actually gets her ult in there, trying to get some kills on the Tristana. Oh, so close. Tries to 1v3, doesn't quite get it. Pepsi Dog is able to tag Braum on top of the Death Sentence to get a kill back there. So they do stop the Baron. Meanwhile, though, Camille got another turret in the bot side during all this.
I don't really know how watching. This macro is very complicated, and by very complicated I mean teams are just fighting a lot.
Yeah,
this game quickly became a bloodbath.
Yeah, both teams already nearing 20 kills apiece, just a little bit here at 22 minutes. So this is definitely a very high kill, very bloody game. Both teams are wanting to be the carries for their side. I'm kind of curious to see how hard they go for this air Drake here in just a moment.
Yeah, so it's important to note, Crab Rave won that play at large, whatever that entire cluster of kills and non-objectives was. They did get 2 turrets, they got more kills. They came out on top, but Nita is still in the lead, up almost 2k gold with a harder scaling comp. So if you're Nita at this point, all you need to do is chill, say, okay, we're still stronger than them, we just can't do that again. And reset your mental, get some vision control, look for picks, and try to take down that Baron, because they will melt it with the Kale, with the Kaisa, and with the Zillion.
Oh, they actually do catch Pepsi Dog. He's going to burn his flash, go right into the Lonnie ult, though, and they actually decided to back out of this fight. They missed the ult, didn't quite get the stun on it. Oh, but meanwhile, Eroki was about to blow up Diamond 5. Diamond 5 doesn't go down, has the ult on for safety. Kale just pops Ari. He just used the ult for safety there, but they didn't really need to use it. But Earl King got a little greedy there chasing Diamond 5 and goes down for it.
Yeah, that was a ton of burst into Kale. That's the power of AD Kale. The new Wit's End has also been completed, so Kale a little tankier to that Ari burst with some extra healing on those auto attacks. With the Zillion ult down, you're not sure if you're needed if you want to be taking a ton of fights, but you know that Sejuani ult got burned, Ari's dead, you know that Braum ult got burned. You can say, maybe we can look to Baron. You just need to play it slow. Don't get too over-aggressive. Don't chase in, go in 1v5 again. The Pepsi Dog really should have actually been killed there. I think the Sejuani ult missing and the flash burn were just barely enough to save Pepsi Dog's life. But
yeah,
still too eager from Nita. They ended up coming out on top. But
you're wanting to try to feel the pressure of the fact that they know that this Kale is huge and starting to outscale them way ahead of schedule, so maybe they're trying to force plays a little bit, but each time they're trying to force a play, it just gets digging the hole a little bit deeper at a time instead of playing to their own win conditions. So, you know, we kind of want to see if they can clean it up. It's still really close. They're only actually down 3k gold at this point, so if they can actually get some picks on this Kale, like we thought, it's a very squishy champion. If you can get her before she gets onto you in these fights, that can actually be a very good breaking point for them, but they actually need to look for that.
Yeah, with the incredible lockdown from Crab Rave, picking Kale isn't out of the question, especially if she's separated from Zillion, Or as we've seen, Zillion just has to burn ult on himself to stay alive, which has happened repeatedly in the last few fights. Once that Zillion ult's down, suddenly everyone else becomes a target. Kayle can't ult if she CC'd, so she then becomes the next target with Zillion ult down. And you can lock her down and burst her before she has the chance to get that damage immunity. So that's going to be Crab Rave's game plan going into these fights. I think that's what's on their mind, is burn Zillion ult and then kill Kayle. But it's going to be hard to execute.
Best James Bond's about to show bot lane with that. He does have a teleport, so he can be able to teleport this, but Nita's going to be able to see that their top laner is not up here. They have all 5 people here. So as I say that, Hernandez does teleport back to base to rebuild his vision to keep control of his Baron. They are just doing the dance round, but they're not actually looking to force it yet either, so that's going to give Camille some time to free push in the bot lane right now.
Yeah, wards are important for Baron dances, of course. Hernandez wants to make sure that she's got plenty of wards available to ward up that blue side jungle. You see that there's no control of it on the side of Nita. So you need to make sure that more wards are going down in there. You can see the other team approaching. But
and they're going for the Baron now. They decided that Camille's the bot lane long enough that they want to go for this. That Baron is going down pretty quick, already down to past 5,000 HP. When Montesker does Q in and get the ult down, gets pulled out of it though with the death sentence. The Baron does go down and do kill on the Montesker, but at the same time, Lambo Mercy goes down. Pepsi Dog's about to try to go in there, does pop the ult to keep himself alive. The Camille Cage comes down for nothing, goes down for free. Kayle pops her ult just to keep herself alive against the Cage in the backline. That fight was so spread out, ults all over the place, but Nita does come out on top safely.
Yeah, incredibly scattered fight. Much like we saw with that fight in the bot lane, Best James Bond starts channeling the teleport just way later than when it's necessary. It really didn't make a difference. In fact, the Camille teleported in only to die. The Baron was gone before the teleport channel was completed. If you're on Crab Rave, I don't know if split pushing is the answer if these teleports keep coming in 5, 10, even 15 seconds too late. You need to be ready to fight as a team when you have a split push. You have to understand that when split pushing, the other team is going to try to force the Baron to force the TP out of you. So you need to be prepared and in the area to either force them off Baron, or if you think you can win the fight, to get the teleport in and then fight it as a group. Instead, what we saw was a really scattered fight where the superior scaling on the side of Nita was enough to win the fight, despite how kind of dispersed it was and how ungrouped it was. With a Kayle on their side and with a Zillion on their side and the Rek'Sai's damage, there was enough there to make it work, even with Lambo Mercy going down at the very start of the fight to Earl King.
Yeah, the spread out fights definitely do favor Nita with this how they're comp. They can avoid some of the CC that are coming out of Braum and Sejuani on their side, so when they can dodge all that, they can just take turns shredding different people across the team fight. Now both teams are trying to posture up here, get a hold of this Infernal Drake. They don't want that go over to the Kayle. With how fed Kayle is at this point, her getting this Infernal Drake for free is going to be really rough, but at this point, actually Kayle just going to go right down the mid lane. They do send Montesker to go back to get that backpack. They able to spice it and gets out safely.
That was really well executed by Backpack. That dragon sat on 1 HP when Backpack stole it.
Oh, and they're actually going to get a pick onto the Kayle. Kayle's alone here. Does want to ult to buy himself some time. Tries to go 1v4. Doesn't survive long enough. They do take lives with the Camille, who went 1v4 on her own side. Not quite as bad as the Kayle there. Pepsi Dog ults in though. Executes Cage for free. Just have the Guardian Angel. It's going to go down here. They are going to pull him out with the Lanterns though to safety. So that actually still favors Nita.
Again, yeah, the Kayle goes down and somehow they end up getting an extra kill out of it. They're just really good at regrouping. Best James Bond also, for the third time this game, in a really awkward position surrounded by enemies. I really would like to see some safer play on his part, because it's just been so unnecessarily uncalculated aggression out of that Camille, and it really needs to be roped in a little bit. The split push with the late teleports have hurt. The diving in 1v5 is hurt. So if the Camille stays alive for that fight, maybe Crab Rave ends up on top. Instead of going in and fighting the Nita backline, the Camille can be there to ult the Rek'Sai on that turret dive, and then the Rek'Sai goes down. And instead of being down 2 for 1, you're up 2 for 1, and you're waiting out that bear.
Yeah, and because of that, that took a good play. I mean, they are still able to secure that second Infernal, keep it away from the Kayle and the Kai'Sa, who both really want that Drake, so they keep that away. But they got the pick on the Kayle. Would have been huge for keeping everything safe, but yeah, those 2 deaths all of a sudden really turned it against them really badly.
Yeah, and they didn't lose their base for it, so it doesn't end up disastrous for them. I think Nita really could have pushed their one-member advantage harder than they did, especially with Baron up. Instead, they decided to take the opportunity to reset, but they got an extra turret, so they're getting more global gold. They're back up to a nearly 6k gold lead from the 2k it was just a few minutes ago. Unfortunately, down in Infernal Drake, that's going to help Crab Rave a lot make up for the scaling. Something we mentioned while waiting for the game to load in.
Backpack does go fishing with the ult, but doesn't quite catch the Kale with it. They are able to keep the turret up a little longer here, but you know, each time Kale and Kai'Sa are able to step up to this turret, even though they don't have the longest range, or both their attack speed is so high and they're so fed right now that that turret's not long for this world. But they decided to back up into the red side jungle instead.
Yeah, something confusing for me from Nita is that you see the Sejuani run in, you see the Sejuani completely whiff ult, and your response to the whiffed ult is to kind of split up, go back into the jungle, go to mid lane. If I see Sejuani miss an ult, I'm thinking, okay, they've lost one of their primary engage tools. Let's either fight them or siege down this turret. It looks like they're getting around to it now, but I think they could have been a little more impatient with it. But that Sejuani ult down, Crab Rave is out of a major tool that they could use to punish Nita for going over aggressive.
And they do finally work that turret down, but yeah, it's definitely taking a little longer than they want to. They're probably erring just on the side of caution, trying to make sure they play this out cleanly. But the thing is, though, when you dance around like this, you know, you're just opening up opportunities for them to get their cooldowns back up on the side of Crab Rave to get that engage back in correctly the second time around.
Yeah, that Sejuani ult's almost back up again, so they only get a turret for the whiffed ult. That's not quite the punish you want to see. I mean, it is a turret, it's not nothing, but you can push it harder than that. Cooldowns are finite, they will be back off eventually, so you need to make sure that in that window you get as much out of it as you can. Taking the jungle, taking a turret, it's not a bad way to go. I think they could have pressed harder than that, but when you've got such a good scaling top, maybe you're thinking, we don't need to get greedy, especially when getting greedy has lost them so many kills, nearly lost them a Baron. You can say, okay, well, let's just play it slow. And I understand that from Nita's side, saying one turret and some jungle camps, more than enough for us.
And the Baron is about to come back up, so they're probably just wanting to say, you know, let's just get that turret, let's regroup, get the vision there, because they actually do have almost full control of the vision at the Baron right now. They don't quite have it on Crab Rave's blue side, but that's pretty well okay, because right now Crab Rave is looking at this Baron almost completely dark in the river and beyond. Actually, they actually do catch Hernandez out. He's going to burn his flash to get the safety. The Sejuani ult does connect this time, and they're able to blow him up before he can do anything. Meanwhile, Kale in the bot lane is going to chase down Best J's bot. Oh my god, he's so huge. He tries to get him in the den, but it's not enough. And Kale is actually going to get some free... Actually, probably just take the in-hit for free. They're going to try and base, but that's going to open up the Baron also.
Yeah, that is a level 16 Kale. That level 16 spike came in without us noticing it. But that is what happens when Kale is level 16. Whatever prayers of split pushing you may have had.
Oh, and he's going to actually burn the teleport. And actually, oh, he about died. He does finish that teleport safely to get to the Baron with Leslie Tristana on the bot side of the map. Not going to get here in time, so they're probably going to secure this Baron safely. But that was really close. Montusker does blow his ult there, doesn't connect with anybody, just trying to stall as much as possible, but I don't think that they're actually going to catch anybody. Oh, they actually do drop the Ignite onto Kale, get dropped on him. He's just going to pop the ult to buy himself some time, see if he can 1v4 here. Doesn't quite happen, does have to waste the ult there, but, you know, trading, it's definitely an unnecessary death, but not the end of the world.
Yeah, I mean, whatever.
And that's kind of sums up this game so far.
the death timer's big. Maybe it's not as whatever as I'm making it, especially with a pick coming out.
Actually, yeah, they pop in the Diamond 5. They're actually going to pop his ult. He's going to be dying in the middle of them. Dread drops the K, trying to keep himself alive. Diamond 5 is going to be able to flash out the wall, but Hernandez goes down again. He's just barely respawned, and at this point, they're going to lose it out. They might actually lose the in-hit for this.
Yeah, when Kale goes down, you need to be sure that you're not fighting anything.
Yeah, Backpack actually goes over the wall, doesn't care. They actually, 3 of them get stunned up at the one by the zillion double bomb, so that actually going to cost Montusker his life, and they're actually going to take down the Ahri as well. So, as soon as we thought they were going to take the inhib, they dive over the wall and just give it all away.
It's greed. It's aggression. Aggression's the right response to being up 2 members. With the Kale respawning soon, you need to make something happen. But not that way. Don't force it too hard, because then you die. And now suddenly Kale's back up. Nita still has Baron on 3 members, and they're going to be able to crack the base because they're up 3 members.
Exactly. As long as nothing crazy happens at this point, they're going to get 2 inhibs at this point. I don't think they can quite close the game out yet unless something crazy. I don't know. The scale is 4 items. They actually are just going to look to end the game.
Yeah, the Elixir of Sorcery is also huge for melting down those structures. So that's what they're looking to do, is use Kale Elixir.
They're trying to like the actually Kale gets stuck in the middle of the ult, just tries to go forward and fight the one before again. It gets all bopped up before she can pop her ult. They catch out Diamond 5 before he can use his ultimate. Actually, he doesn't die on his ultimate, so he doesn't even get the revive out of that. So they actually only get 1 inhib out of the play. They get on the Lambo Mercy with the dead at this point, but Lambo's ahead of his team, so he's probably going to die for it. He does go die for it. They do get the kill onto the Kaisa. Montusha goes in and take that down. They are able to trade the revive on Pepsi Dog. He goes down. Hernandez has got to go down, and that's an ace!
Goldline, we're watching an ARAM with some extra steps involved. Baron exists, it's ARAM, but the river's there too, you know? I don't get it.
Cool, I just don't know. Like, I mean, I love it. On one hand, I love it because there's so much action going on, but at the same time, this is so bad. This is a solo queue game.
If you're Nita, all you need to do is take the bot inhib. Then you have double inhib, your base is still intact.
Wait, they're gonna try to end. The Kale is huge, they're kind of getting low on their side here. She's gonna blow up Montesker! And oh, doesn't quite go down. Oh, it gets hit by the charm and goes down without her ult again. They're actually gonna look to end the game this time, for real.
Yeah, no, this is just gain to Crab Rave. There's not enough damage. They
do get a huge quad bomb there. Diamond 5 tried his best at the last moment, but we just saw 5 throws in a row, back and forth, and finally Crab Rave gets on top there.
Yeah, it's the way ARAM goes too, you know? It's the team that you slowly get closer and closer to each other's base until the death timers are long enough that like you can win the fight, walk all the way down mid lane and end the game. Like that's actually what happened here. We just saw so much fighting, and eventually Crab Rave won the fight with the death timers long enough to end the game. That game was far from clean from both teams. Nita really, really didn't need to do what they did there. They had the late game comp. We said that they wanted to get to 35 minutes and then use Kale and Kaisa to win the game. They got to 35 minutes and then they used Kale and Kaisa to lose the game immediately. I just don't understand that one. They could have taken the inhib and backed off and said, we have 2 inhibs down. All we got to do is slowly pressure top lane and we can close this game out clean. They got greedy. They went for the end. They got picked off. Really well played by Earl King to land that charm and make sure that the Kale was dead before any defensive tools could be used. Really well played by Crab Rave in those last few moments to get those extra picks and then close the game out. Best James Bond finally found the 1v3 that he wanted, trading kills instead of just dying, made it happen. That's not an easy 1-0 for Crab Rave, but it's a 1-0. They're in the lead, and we're going to be getting into game 2 soon enough. Until then, we'll be taking a brief break, and we'll see you all in just a few moments. Welcome back, everyone, to Game 2 of Nita versus Crab Rave in Dominate Open. We saw a very interesting Game 1 in which Nita picked a late game team comp, got the late game, and then gave the game away by getting a little too greedy and pushing for game when they could not make it happen. We're getting back into draft for Game 2. Hopefully they can reset their minds, try again, maybe throw a little less hard this game because, if I'm going to be honest, it was a game of throws. Both teams had a lot to improve upon, a lot of notes that they could take away from it. They're going to be aiming to play cleaner games, I think, for both of them. Lots of kills went over where it was just totally unnecessary. Neither team really had a grip on the game until the Nexus exploded, so it's hard to anticipate what's going to happen in this game. Draft looking relatively similar to Game 1. In fact, identical to Game 1 so far, so nothing changing up in bans just yet. Maybe we'll see something different on the third ban. But until then, I am Cole, my co-caster is Goldline, and we are ready for some more Dominate action.
Man, like you said, the exact same pick and ban so far, unless something changes on this one here. If it all goes to plan, it's going to be a Morgana ban. So we're going to see what happens here the next second or so. Okay, you know what? They're throwing us for a loop already. They knew we were onto them. They decided to change it up. But it actually does bring up the question, though. Both teams might have actually liked the drafts. Okay, yeah. So it looks like it's a Braum ban for everybody at home. That blank spot is Braum.
And then Crab Rave adapting, banning away the Zillion. They didn't like that on the side of Nita, which I think is a good pick for them. They picked a heavy pick comp, and then the Zillion said, you can't pick us, at least not usually, but really sometimes. And
we do see the Kale come back out again, and the Syndra was banned in the previous game is coming out as well. But that does kind of tell you this is our top, this is our mid, unless some real shenanigans are about to come out here. So we are already seeing some big differences in between the two drafts.
Yep, Crab Rave picking away the Kale to deny it from Nita. They're prioritizing that. Nita, in turn, is picking away the Morgana. It had been banned in Game 1. I think they didn't want to give it over. So support actually first pick blue side for both of these games. Rather than go for meta power picks, we're just going for supports. And
we do
that
see
does surrender the Kale, but the blind pick early Kale opens up a lot of counter pick opportunities. Ari's going to be picked into Syndra. That's a solid lane for Ari. And if you're Nita, you want to pick a top laner here to answer Kale. And it's going to be Wukong, which was pinched by Crab Rave last game.
Interesting. So, how do you think Wukong does in the Kale? He does definitely have the gap close to beat up on her early, but I don't think his scaling isn't as good as it used to be.
I don't know. Wukong is a weird pick.
True, you don't exactly see him much anymore. It's been a few seasons since we've seen Wukong, so maybe they know something we don't know. I could see it working in the early stages of the game. When Kale's go melee, Wukong does love the CC free melee top matchups where he can hopefully blow someone up before they get too far. But if this game extends probably past even 20 minutes, Kale versus Wukong in a 1v1, I don't see Kale losing that right away. We do see Crabwave also taking Jarvan for most likely what's going to be the jungle on their side, which is a fairly solid pick for Backpack. That's one of his favorite champions.
Yeah, so the thing to look out for with Wukong is that right now, if you're playing Wukong, the only really truly viable builds involve full lethality, full assassin. That's what all of the top Wukong players in the world are doing right now. So you're going to get a Duskblade, you're going to need the Yomus. You might go Ravenous Hydra to push the wave. You might get a Black Cleaver or a Last Whisper. GA and Ma are also situational. But with that high damage Wukong, it is, in theory, possible to surprise the Kale from Fog of War with stealth and then blow her up before she even has a chance to react and ult herself. You can get off an EQR combo from Wukong that shreds armor and knocks the Kale up, and you can kill a squishy champion before they hit the ground with that combo out of Wukong. But it takes Wukong being relatively ahead in the first place. You can't pull that off from very far behind, so Nita's going to need that Wukong to do well in lane. Wukong is known to be able to take advantageous trades, especially against a champion like Kale, who's going to start melee. He can go in and then stealth out, get a big chunk in a much shorter time span, and there's very little window for Kale to fight back. So that's what Wukong is going to be doing there. From Crab Rave, we see some different picks coming out. Taric is interesting. It's a good defensive support. Not a great answer to much of what Nita has, especially Zac now. Lots of hard pick again. very interesting.
I guess they're going all in for the Morgana, Bind, Zac all in. How much you want to bet Crabwave picks Sona, though? We've just been seeing a lot of Sona, Tarek, and they shut me out very quick, and they lock in the Jace? So, I'm not quite sure where that Jace is going to go. I'm not sure. Jace can be a bot lane champion. He's got the constant range and advantage in bot lane that could work really well with the Tarek melee style, but they could also look to put Kale bot possibly with the safety of the Tarek. Where do you think that Jace is going to go most likely?
I can say with some confidence that that is in fact Jace bot lane. I've seen them practice it. It's a pick that they seem to be relatively comfortable and competent on. It's something that has weaknesses. Jace not known for his high DPS, but when you've got a Kale, you've got the damage coming from a different lane, so you're still going to have that objective damage that you need. Jace does just a ton of damage. He has a ton of poke. Against some lane like Twitch and Morgana, it's kind of hard for Twitch to stay healthy. If he eats a shock blast, he can get blown up really quickly, and the Black Shield is not very useful into a Jace. He doesn't really rely on CC, no reliance on magic damage. You're really only going to be blocking the Taric stun, and I'm not sure that's going to matter too much because Taric ult is really what that lane's about. An invulnerable Jace is very, very scary indeed. So,
indeed, and also Tarek plus Jarvan, that's a really strong combo as well. You can put your ulti on yourself to keep your backlane safe and put your other ulti on Jarvan when he's diving in, keep him safe. And they could look to blow someone up on the side of Nita before anything even starts happening, because Nita, outside of the Zac, is a very, as we were talking about with the Wukong, it's a full assassin Wukong 9 times out of 10. If Jarvan dunks him first, it could be very deadly very quick.
Yeah, I think with these two team comps, who wins fights is generally going to be who gets the cleaner engage off. With the Taric, if Crab-Rave is able to plan and engage and make it happen with Jarvan, with Syndra, with Jace, and a Taric ult to back them up, then they're going to win the fight 10 times out of 10. It's going to be so hard for Crab-Rave to lose a fight that they get a clean engage on. Similarly from Nita, if Zac can land an E, Wukong can land an R, and there's a Twitch far off in the distance shooting away at people, then it's going to be hard for Crab-Rave to win. The Taric ult can come down, but it might be too late with all of the AoE damage coming out of Morgana, Ahri, Wukong, and Twitch. Every single one of the damage dealers on Nita has lots of AoE. Ahri Q can melt through a team pretty quickly if they're clumped up. Morgana R keeps them in the same area, especially with a Wukong R. There's going to be just so much CC to lock them down and guarantee even more. So it's a lot of circles is what I like to call it from Nita. They kind of got that circle comp. Zac E, Wukong R, Morgana R, with a Twitch to melt anyone who gets caught inside them. Crab-Rave, a similar idea. Jarvan ult with a Kale to do damage to anyone inside it, with a Syndra to blow up any priority targets. Twitch may try to flank Crab-Rave, and Twitch may end up finding himself with a lot of balls flying into his face very quickly. And suddenly that Twitch isn't going to be alive anymore. So that flank is kind of dangerous. Lambo Mercy can go for it, but you need to watch out for those Syndra cooldowns and make sure that you're not going to get blown up the instant you pop out and say, "Hi!"
Yeah, when he has something for everybody, they might have a lot to return for him as well. So it could get really interesting real quick. But as we just saw in the previous game, there could be a small chance that neither of these win conditions get played to at all, and that we'll just have a total fiesta, and whoever can get the coin flip will take advantage of it, hopefully.
In a fiesta, I like Nita's comp a little better. I like the Wukong, I like the Morgana, I like the Twitch and the Ahri. When Crab-Rave isn't grouped up, that Taric ult loses its effectiveness. When Crab-Rave isn't grouped up, that Jarvan ult loses its effectiveness. It's really a good setup for his team. He often doesn't have the damage to finish a kill by himself. Whereas with Nita, you have a lot of independent assassins who can make things happen on their own. Twitch is great at picking off an isolated single target. Wukong is incredible at picking off an isolated single target, as is Ahri, and Zac and Morgana are there just to assist their damage dealers with the incredible lockdown that they have to offer. If Morgana lands a binding, that's going to be a death more times than not, as long as she's got a teammate nearby to help her out.
Yeah, as everybody does get locked in, we do see that it is going to be... Are you seeing the same thing I'm seeing, Cole?
I see Kalebot and Jace top.
I do see Kalebot. I do see Kalebot with a Jace top, so...
I'm wrong.
In your defense, that makes the most sense. When I said it, I maybe Kale... Okay, they swapped back. They got till 20 seconds, I think. I think we're doing the same rules as LCS, where they only got until a certain point that they can swap back and forth. So we'll see what they do. Okay, now they're just being goofy. No, wait.
Syndra bot with Jace
All
mid.
right, guys, we're both wrong. So it's gonna be we got Kale in the top lane, we got Jace in the mid lane with the cleanse, which is a good idea versus Ari with the ignite, and we have Syndra bot lane. Mages in the bot is something that's been popularized. Even though the crit 80ks have come back, it's still a semi-popular pick every once in a while to have a mage down there, especially with the safety of the target, would provide some armor, sustain. Can definitely be an okay pick there.
It doesn't make sense to me into the Morgana though. Why are you sending your magic damage dealer against a
Yeah.
champion that has a specifically magic damage shield? Her stun is telegraphed. You can see the Syndra QE coming out because you'll see the Q forming on the ground. And you can realize if it's not trying to hit your Twitch or a minion wave, she's probably about to use E. And then you can use your Morgana Black Shield on your Twitch to keep him perfectly safe. Syndra also immobile, so if cooldowns get burned, if Crabgrave misplays a little bit bot lane, Taric misses a stun, or Syndra uses her E and doesn't find the target she's looking for, suddenly they're out of tools to keep the Twitch off of them, and then they're at risk of going down. I think there's a lot of damage from Twitch Morgana. Syndra, not the safest laner against something like that. If she eats a binding, that's going to be curtains for her. So, interesting decision to flex her bot lane. We'll see how it works out. As we saw last game, we could do all the analysis we want on draft, and it might just not matter because they're going to go play ARAM anyway. So, with that in mind, we'll see how the Fiesta does pan out in just a couple minutes. We're on the spectator delay, so we're going to go to take a quick break, and we will see you all when we land on the Rift.
Welcome back, everybody. Me and Goldline, along with Cole here, we're here to bring you back round 2 of Nita versus Crab Rave. Kind of interested to see how these comps are going to execute. We do have the Kale in the top lane, Backpack's playing his Jarvan in the jungle like usual. Earl King switched the Jace to the mid lane. Cage is playing Syndra in bot, along with Montusker on the turret doing support.
Yeah, it's an interesting draft from the side of Crab Rave. They're definitely doing something different here. It's remains to be seen whether or not it's great. We had such a clown fiesta in game 1 that maybe comp isn't at the forefront of their minds. Really, it's going to come down to execution in these games. I think that's what we learned, if anything, from game 1. So we will figure out whether or not it's good enough for them. I think the most notable thing about this draft, and the most interesting thing, is that we see the Wukong top with Ignite as the answer to Kale. That's going to give Crab Rave a permanent split push advantage. Wukong is not great at answering a Kale push. He's only great at engaging and all-inning the Kale and hopefully bursting her before she can react. If the Kale is able to outplay it in any way, then Wukong is going to die because he has one spell rotation and then his burst is gone, and that's just not going to be a happy situation. But with Ignite, maybe Wukong can get fed enough, win lane hard enough, that Kale doesn't survive or succeed. After watching the way top lane went down last game, where we saw that Best Team's Bond basically went even with Little Seong's Kale, it seems to be a kind of safe assumption that perhaps the stronger laner is going to be the Wukong. Played it better last game for sure, because when you're playing Kale and you don't lose, then you're winning. So if you're playing Wukong with Ignite, you don't lose, then you're killing the Kale a lot, because that's really the only way you can win. So if top lane goes the same way it did last game, then maybe we can see a fed Wukong wreaking havoc on the map. And that's, I think, what we want to see out of Nita. I think that's one of their main win conditions.
And we did see both junglers starting at the red buffs, but Backpack tried going for some counter jungling. It looks like he got caught out there, decided to take the Scuttle Crab instead, and is going back to his Raptor at this point. Probably going to be going to his bot side shortly. What do you think the junglers want to do to help play to their win conditions this game?
Well, Zach has a really obvious intention. Zach is a one-track mind kind of jungler, which is use his E to gank lanes and get kills. Zach is one of the strongest gankers. He can go from very afar, from weird angles, from out of vision, and his E has enough CC combined with his Q to guarantee a kill in all 3 of the lanes that we have Nita at. So if Zach can get these ganks off and get some leads in these lanes, maybe they'll be strong enough that the Fiesta isn't as much of a Fiesta. Whereas Backpack, as you can see, kind of wants to do a mix of both. He wants to get a little fed. He wants to get some farm. He needs to be farming more than a Zach does. Jarvan's going to be more item reliant than a Zach is, because Zach is pretty much innately tanky. It's hard to kill him, especially with his passive. And it won't really matter in these fights if Zach ends up dying, because once he's used his E and used his R, he has served his purpose. Jarvan kind of has to do a little more than just that in order to be good for a fight.
Yeah, we do see that Backpack was hunting for that gank on the bot lane, but it was denied by the Morgana binding, and he's going to finally go to clear his blue buffs. He's actually kind of behind tempo on the Zach. It's not something we normally see out of the Jarvan. Normally he's usually one of the fastest clears in the jungle. And Zach, he does have a very good clear as well as himself, but he's already been basing back to his Krugs at this point. He's going to have a lot more advantage on the map sooner than Backpack is on the Jarvan.
Yeah, and that's good for Zach because, like I said, ganking lanes is important, but there's a lot of immobility on the side of Crab Rave. The Kale is immobile, the Jace is immobile. The bot lane's really the only lane that's going to be tough at all to gank with Syndra and Taric. The Syndra E can knock someone away. Taric R, once they're 6, is a really good disengage tool. We see top lane not really going the Wukong's way either, so maybe Zach wants to say, how about I go look that way? Kale's not going to get out of ganks all that easily, and we really need this Wukong to start snowballing with this Ignite.
Yeah, Sedrong does have a 10 CS lead at the moment, but that wave is getting pretty big and pushing into James Bond, so you should be able to even out that CS difference pretty shortly here. And he does have the Klepto as well, so you know, every time he clicks E and hits it on the Wukong, he does even out that gold just a little bit each time.
Yeah, Klepto is the source of income for champs who don't like farming, so Great pickup on Kale. Every game you can use it. Against a melee champion like Wukong, it's pretty free to get stacks. Anytime he goes the last hit and creep, you can just auto attack and get some free gold. Or free items. Free mana potions. Always great too, especially when you're on as little mana as best James Bond is.
Yeah, we look at the inventory Kale right now. He still has 2 of the corrupting potion, has the AD buff potion, I forget the name of it off the top of my head, has a biscuit, and has an HP pot all at the same time, so he's not going to get pushed out his wave anytime soon. We do see Sejong go for the instant lethality. He is going to go for that assassin build, it looks like, which is probably the only build you do normally see, but he's going to probably look to hopefully make advantage. We do see Backpack die to Raptors 1v0, so that's a... we're carrying over from the last game just a little bit.
Yeah. That's an execute to the Raptors. That's first blood going down to the Raptor camp.
Yeah, the Raptors are fed now. You gotta wonder what they're gonna do with that gold lead.
Yeah, unfortunate from Backpack. Getting executed by the Raptors, it's a thing that happens. It happened a lot more in early Season 6 when the jungle was reworked and everyone had to learn that the Raptors are very, very deadly. Still something to keep in mind. If you're a jungler without strong AoE, that camp will do nutty damage to you. Backpack not able to heal enough to keep himself alive against that camp, so.
Not to be deterred though, he did go right back and clear it out this time. He was not going to be made fool of twice in a row, but so he's be looking to clear his red buff here
getting
shortly.
that shutdown gold, dude, come on.
That's true, yeah, he's got to get the return gank off apparently. He's good dance around the top side jungle, maybe hopefully to get that red buff. Yeah, he is going to head back and get the red buff. I think got that vision in the river. Zach is going to go back, buy up real quick, and go back and get his red buff as well. A lot of pretty slow pace compared to the first game, though.
Yeah, I think Zach is level 5, and we haven't even seen him try to show up in a lane, which is a bit of a waste of Zach's early game, but his ganks don't get worse with time. The E is always there. The R only makes ganks better, so it's not like he has the pressure to make something happen immediately. He doesn't really fall off all that hard. He's not a great team fight champ later, but if he can fight it perfectly, then he can do a good job.
And we do see Hernandez and Montusker kind of dueling it out a little bit versus Vision, not able to turn him off of it though. She actually walked right past his Vision ward as well, so that's going to stay there and keep Vision for them also, while both junglers have their red buffs now. But like you mentioned, Zach level 5 hasn't ganked it either. Jarvan is level 5, he hasn't ganked it either. But a little bit strange jungle picks to take that kind of slow pace. They might be looking to pack, but Earl King actually jumps in on the Diamond 5, almost kills him with the shock blast, does have to pop his cleanse to do that, and Diamond 5 gets out without burning anything outside of its ult. So, but Jace looks like he's starting to get a pretty good advantage early on.
Yeah, I mean, you'll trade the Ahri ult for the Jace cleanse every day of the week. It's a shorter cooldown, and now that you know his cleanse is gone, the next time your ult's off cooldown, you can go in and try and get a kill. It's going to be hard, though. That Jace damage was really impressive. That Ahri got incredibly low from just a simple combo. That was just a few auto attacks in the shot blast. Not even the full damage from the melee form engaged. So that's a lane that's going to be on a precipice. It's easy for that to swing one way or the other pretty soon.
No, we do see Backpack and Pepsi Dog fighting over some Vision in the river again. Jarvan seems to be getting the early advantage with it, but actually, as soon as I say that, he's going to start getting really low, flashes out, leaves Pepsi Dog to 1v1 Earl King. Earl King doesn't have any mana to take this fight, though. Diamond 5 flashes in, but immediately the flash is met by Earl King. Both the teams have very fast fingers there and get out safely without anything happening. But that is both flashes burned on the side of... Oh, actually, as soon as we say that, they're actually going at it in top lane. But James Bond does burn his ult there, but it's not the same enough for the Wukong. Wukong burns the Ignite and his ult, and is able to get that kill, the 1v1 like we talked about.
Yep, that's what you need out of that Wukong. Up 20-something CS, now up a kill, going to be able to push a wave into the turret, grow that lead even more. That's exactly what Nita needed to see in this early game, is Wukong getting ahead. They blow an extra few summoner spells with that fight in the mid lane. Jarvan flashes down, whereas Zax is still up. So it's advantage Nita right now. They're a little stronger than they were just a few moments ago. Only up 400 gold. It's effectively just that first blood gold making a difference due to the slight CS discrepancies in bot lane and in mid lane. But the Wukong snowballing on that Kale is absolutely critical for them, so that first blood kill is huge.
It looks like Sejong might have overstayed his welcome, though. He doesn't have his flash that gets dunked on. He does try to get the return kill on the Kale. Does take him down to 1/3 HP, but not quite enough. Got a little bit greedy there. Backpack able to punish him, get a kill back onto the Kale. And the story of greed continues for both teams.
Yeah, maybe if he's recalled and bought the items that have been earned from that first blood kill, then that fight goes a little differently. Maybe the Wukong has enough damage to get the return kill and get snowballing even harder. But when you're still in lane, once you shove the wave into turret, you need to get back and buy, sitting on gold.
Downfight does ult in, trying to get onto Earl King. He's able to ult away there as Pepsi Dog jumps in onto Earl King. Getting super low, but Backpack comes right across the lane, takes down Diamond 5, and they do pop the Zac passive. And they're probably going to get the double kill here. Probably try and give it over to Earl King, which they do, which could give him some free push on to get some place in his mid lane even farther.
Yeah, it's a pretty big misplay by Diamond 5, both missing a lot of skill shots. It happens, you can't land skill shots every time. But after missing all those skill shots, the call from Nito was, how about we just try and kill him anyway? And as soon as Jarvan shows up, that turns into a terrible idea, and Diamond 5 just kind of sits there and takes the Jarvan EQ combo, saying, I don't need to juke this, I don't need to run away, I'll eat that Jarvan damage, I'll be fine. And then Ahri was dead, because Jarvan hurts.
Yep.
So, just a little overeager from then. You can't overcommit to a failed gank. Once the gank failed, you gotta say, alright, it's time to back off. We haven't succeeded.
Yeah, that does leave Jace up about 26, 27 CS on his side. I made the mistake of doing math on stream. I shouldn't be doing that. But that does give him a nice little lead. He did get, he's still sitting only at 1 plate lead. He didn't get a plate out of that. Decided to not make the same mistake that Sejong did in Topside. He decided to take his kill, go back, group it up here and try and keep the lead on there. Building towards those Mercury treads to help reduce Ahri's charm time on. It's gonna let him actually probably heavily snowball his lane actually.
Yeah, that Jace is a monster compared to Ahri. Winning as hard if not harder than the Wukong is on that Kale. The Kleptomancy gold keeps Kale relatively even in gold, whereas Ahri doesn't have Kleptomancy and is just down about 700 gold in that lane matchup. So the snowball is happening a little quicker for Crab Rave with Earl King on that Jace. It's really hard for Ahri to have anything to answer to that. The wave clear from Jace is also enough that he can just keep pushing out these waves.
Yeah, Crab Rave definitely happy with how the early game started. It was, they did get the first blood on their side there, but at the moment Zac's looking to deal Backpack's red buff, but he got spotted out right away, so he's going right back out because they're getting ready to collapse on him. So it's still kind of slowed back a little bit down, but we want to see what Crab Rave's actually going to do to extend this advantage they have early.
Yeah, it's something weird that I want to point out again is that Pepsi Dog on the Zac still hasn't participated in any kills. That's not what you want out of the Zac.
Well, I'd say that he does go over the wall and knock up James Bond and gets the ult out of him. Not able to save his life though because he doesn't have his flash. Sejong gets the second kill onto the Kale.
Yep, so there you go. I cursed Pepsi Dog into being effective.
Hey, if that's what it takes, I'm sure they'll take it.
The caster curse reigns supreme, man. But yeah, that's what we wanted to see out of Pepsi Dog far earlier. The first gank, it's an immediate kill. It begs the question, why hasn't that happened already?
Oh, actually, Montusker really wants to go in on the side, but they're all training their ability here. Oh, they actually do get the second stun onto the Lambo and able to kill him off with the Syndra ult. And meanwhile, in the middle, we do see another 2v2 going down. Earl just barely misses Diamond 5 with the Shock Blast there at the end. So, no, nobody dies in the mid lane there, but they do get a kill down the bot lane.
Yeah, so the solo kills coming out from the side of Crab Rave are gonna hurt Nita pretty big. You can't be giving up solo kills or duo kills, as the case may be, in bot lane and end up winning the game. The pressure that Jace has on the Ahri has become very difficult to deal with. They can't win that 2v2 at all. The Syndra has now gotten a couple items, is now very scary, and a Syndra combo can absolutely beat a squishy AD carry like Twitch. So that's what we're seeing right now, and I don't know why this Wukong is mid. I can't tell you.
He was looking to get a kill on the Earl King there, but as soon as that didn't work, he needed to go back up to top lane because that did allow the Kale to get a plate up top. It looked like just before they dropped on him.
Yeah, and the waves are crashing the turret too.
And meanwhile, they also had Earl King go down and just help Backpack take that air Drake on him, which is pretty good for what they want to do. They have a little bit of a mobile comp with the Kale and the Taric and the Syndra, so that air Drake does help them kind of zip around the map a little faster.
Yeah, and with the TP, well, they don't have the TP advantage, so never mind. I was going to say with the TP advantage, they could be sure of it, but kill him and teleport.
And that's one of the things that, like, we were talking about earlier, that, you hate solo kills going along in the bot lane because, Wukong does have a pretty good lead on the Kale and has the Ignite. He's going to kind of keep pressuring this Kale, but when your team's giving away gold on the other half of the map, it doesn't matter what kind of lead you have in your lane if they're losing at the same amount of gold elsewhere. So time in the top lane is typing to the rest of his team like, just please stop dying while he tries to get a lead up here. Hopefully he can maybe get more out of it here shortly.
Yeah, and this lead isn't huge. It's 2K and a Cloud Drake. That's not nothing, but games have been thrown with far greater leads than this. So if you're Nita, you're not scared right now. Your Wukong's got some kills. You've got some things going your way. You just need a little bit better to work out. I don't know why we didn't see the Wukong ult there. It would have damaged the kill a lot.
Yeah, and actually he's gonna die for it. He actually goes back in it. Oh, he just doesn't get the kill. James Bond got greedy, flashed in, and gave the kill back. Didn't need to do that.
Made it happen.
Exactly. If he would have backed out, he probably would have been okay there while Backpack would have cleaned up the kill, but instead they burn both their flashes in the top lane and the kill ult, and they actually go 1-for-1 during all that. And actually they bait Earl King to go. They thought they baited Earl King into a fight. He had a very quick flash past Pepsi Dog and killed Ahri instantly.
Yeah, that charm absolutely had to land. And why is Pepsi Dog going in? Oh,
he does pull the Earl King back in, but it's not going to be quite enough to kill him. Earl King is not scared of that fight and actually just about takes Zac down. Doesn't pop the passive though, so he is going to be okay for the moment. But yeah, it's definitely not the fight he wants to be taking right now.
Yeah, that's just Zac ult burned for nothing. So that's just a little less pressure from the Zac. I mean, it's not a huge cooldown. It'll be back up soon enough, but you now know that for the next minute or so, the Zac R is on cooldown, not available in a gank if he decides to recall and head bot lane, so that makes him a little less threatening. Really not excellent execution there. I mean, again, skill shots are going to miss. Ahri misses the charm. It needed to land if that gank was going to succeed.
Yeah, credit to Earl King, though. The moment he saw Zac come out of that bush, he flashed instantly past him and just deleted Diamond 5. Diamond 5 doesn't stand a chance at that point. Meanwhile, we see Sejong on the bot side of the map, clearing out the Scuttle Crab and some vision on his side, maybe trying to make use. Actually, they're sending the Ahri top lane. Maybe they realized that the lead they were bleeding out in mid was too great, and they're going to try and staunch that a little bit. But the thing is, though, now you've just kind of removed the one lead you had on the map.
Yeah, Wukong was up about 600, 700 gold on the Kayle. Now Wukong is instead down about 700 gold on the Jace, and Ahri is now down about 200 gold on the Kayle. So you had an Ahri down a ton and a Wukong up a decent amount, but now you have Wukong down a lot and Ahri down. So you have two losing lanes on the top portion of the map. Maybe Ahri can punish the Kayle a little better. Diamond 5 really does just need to get out of that Jace lane if that Ahri's going to keep farming.
Sejong's looking to actually come bot lane here as well, but they have the Tarkle. He's going to pop it. Everybody's going to stay safe. They drop the Ignite onto Sejong. He dies right away. They do try and pop the Morgana chains onto Tark. He does not quite go down. Oh, that was so close. I'm finishing the Tark with the Expunge. And that's not the right name for it anymore. I actually remember what it is. But he actually gets caught out by the Syndra stun and goes down as well. Earl King wanted to dive there a little bit, but changed his mind as soon as Morgana burned her flash.
Yeah, really well done by Backpack to be there at the right place at the right time. He's been answering the Wukong aggression absolutely perfectly.
Oh, and Pepsi's going in 1v4. Just both the old again. Does actually get Backpack pulled in and get him killed. So that was actually, for a second I thought he was going to end for just a moment, but he actually pulled it back really nicely there.
Yeah, Backpack just did a short little flag and drag. He needed to get a little more range on that E. It was kind of a little wimpy one where he only went about half the range that he could have if he'd casted the E farther away. So that's unfortunate, but
I do like the idea that Nita had there, though. Like, they did put the Wukong mid, which we were just discussing was kind of a bad shit on their part, but they did try and take the Wukong lead that he had and put him bot lane to help snowball their bot lane. Didn't quite work, though, so now the plan they had in mind is even farther behind now, and Jason's just going to continue to bully this. He's actually up 2 levels on the Wukong. That's actually dirty.
Yeah, and the Kayle is even in levels with the Ahri and has hit level 11 now, so Kayle's permanently ranged, has a lot more pressure in these fights.
Lambo does pop out of the stealth trying to catch him there, and Diamond's waiting on the other side, so they are probably getting this pick onto Earl King. He actually tries to get a return kill, not really anywhere close though. That's going to let them possibly get the Herald here in just a moment. They do clean up the Scuttle Crab. They have all 5 members are in the area, so they might actually look to get something here.
Yeah, they're gonna lose the bot turret though. They've shown everyone in the mid lane the Syndra's still bot, so the waves are gonna crash into there. That bot turret either gonna go down or get very close to being low, and they're gonna need to get denied even more farm.
Oh, they do catch Montusker by himself. He's actually, and he doesn't have the tower gold yet, so he's actually gonna die right away. That does give a little bit of gold back over to the Twitch. He's actually very happy about that. Montusker didn't really need to be there by himself, but not the worst death to have right now.
You don't want to be giving kills to Twitch. Twitch is one of their ways back into the game.
Backpack gets a knockup onto Sejong though. Sejong tries to go back in, ults and tries to kill the Kale, but popped the ignite and just wasn't quite as close as it's been in before. You know, he traded the kills back before, but at this point, he's just kind of giving free Kale gold.
Yeah, at this point, Backpack as well is he's just bullying this Wukong. Wukong has a take.
Oh, Diamond 5 ults in and gets the ignite on the James Bond, so James Bond overstayed a little bit, got punished for it without his ultimate and dies. So they do get a little gold back there, but it's not quite as much as that Crab Rave got out of it.
Yeah, the mid turret goes down too, so even where Anita's getting a small win, they're losing. The Jace is getting out of control at this point. Up a couple kills, up a ton of CS, most farm in the game, solo turret gold, solo first turret gold. It's going to be very hard to deal with him. They're going to need to be getting picks. Fortunately, they have the ability to get picks with Wukong, with Ahri, with Twitch and Morgana. The Ahri charms just haven't been landing on Earl King though. Much to his credit, he's been great at juking them so far. So Diamond 5 is going to need to get a little more accuracy on these charms if Nita wants a way back into this game.
We do see them picking up their second air Drake as well, so not usually the Drake they want to have. Next Drake is going to be an Infernal, though. That's going to be one they are going to be happy to pick up after that. Get the Kale, the Jade. They have a very high damage comp, so that Infernal Drake is going to be really nice. And, you know, air Drake is my favorite Drake, so, you know, that's not the worst one to have. Secondly, you know, more move speed is always a good stat.
We're talking about dodge and skill shots. When you're walking faster, it's easier to dodge.
That's true. You got me there. What I'm curious to kind of see, though, next is what, as we mentioned, they do have their poke, though, their pick-off potential on the side of Nita to get something back here, but they're not really looking to clear any vision. Actually, as soon as I say that, they're kind of sneaking onto the Earl King here. Does get the slowdown, pops the charge in the last moment, but Earl King just pops his cleanse right away and gets out safely. So they were looking to get that pick.
Yeah, I guess Champion's behind. Nope.
Yeah, Pepsi Dog popped in a violate. Charge does pop the ult, but he does actually pull right back the team, so they're actually both gonna die. Zach does get the kill onto the Syndra, and Lambo gets the kill onto Tarek. So that is a really good gank on their part. Does kind of help them take the turret. Actually, Backpack goes in hard. He goes over the wall, dunks on a Lambo, but dies. Like, I don't know what he thought he was gonna do. 1v3. Earl King comes in from the side though, just pops Hernandez and Lambo for free. My goodness, that's a lot of damage. And at that point, they're gonna clean up Pepsi Dog for free.
Yeah, and that's the GA from Backpack coming in clutch there. He knew that he had the Jace on the way and the Kale to back him up soon enough, so he said, I can die here, I'll revive and it'll be great. The GA early is kind of an interesting purchase, especially against an Ahri and a Zac. You don't necessarily want all that armor, but when the Wukong's a threat and the Twitch is a threat too, it's a great buy, and it was proven there.
And Cedron actually kind of overstayed a little bit. Actually, he might do. Oh, I got a little hype for him for just a moment. I thought he was going to turn that kill around. Earl King is just too far ahead, though, and pops him for overstaying in the mid lane also.
Yeah, this Wukong is starting to just... You can almost feel the frustration out of this Wukong play. It's just a little over aggro.
Oh, Montusker got a nice tar stun onto Diamond, but Cage tried popping the Syndra stun, but didn't have a ball down, so no ball went out to get the stun, so Diamond 5 is going to slip out nicely. Does burn the ignite onto Montusker, thought he could get a kill back, but doesn't quite finish it off.
Yeah, the classic Syndra combo is QE instead of EQ. What we saw was the EQ combo, where you try to stun, miss, and then let the ball down on the ground that you can't use.
Yep, you just flash your emote and walk away at that point because there's nothing else you can really do. They are looking to get a pick back here, but to get the Syndra combo off correctly that time, he gets out safely.
Getting in some practice while getting some chip damage. Good work by Cage.
Oh, Lambo actually just walked into Backpack. Then he had his team there to back him up, so Backpack was smart enough not to all in at that point without his team in the area, so they're going to get control back on the side of Nita in this river. At this point, I guess they're just worried about how far the Kale's ahead, how far the Jace is ahead. They might lose this Baron early. It's not going to die as fast as it did in the previous game. It is still the AP Kale. He actually opted for the more sustained build with the Gunblade second item, which does give Kale a lot of sustain, but it's not quite that same amount of damage early. So the Baron is actually probably a little safer, but Nita just doesn't really want to mess with that right now.
Yeah, it's tricky to defend a Baron against a comp that has someone like Kale and that fed Jace. Trying to face check the river is going to result in shock blast to the face. That
Pepsi Dog finds Montusker around the corner. He doesn't pop the ult, so he is going to survive just a little bit here longer. And he actually misses the knockup on Pepsi. Then Backpack goes to dunk the back line. Hernandez flashes out, gets a root back onto Jarvan. He dies actually for it. Goes 1-for-1 right now. Earl tries to get on the back line, pops, and he actually, Syndra is able to finish it off. And actually, that wasn't too bad for just a moment, but then Earl goes down as well. Pepsi doesn't even have to pop his passive to get there. And actually, Syndra just flashed over the wall and got knocked right away by the Syndra, but he still has his guy close for to flash out of Cage, so he's gonna get away safely. But Sejong is really wanting to get that kill, but meanwhile, Kill, that was a 4v5. Kill got a free turret in the bot lane, is actually stealing the red buff.
Yeah, it's a pretty clear reason why Nita wins the fight, and it's because they're fighting 5v4. Again, with Best James Bond split pushing with no teleport this time, it's just not what you want to do. There's no reason, if you're Crab Rave, that you need to be giving up a team fight. You're stronger than them. You have a fed Jace, a fed Syndra, a Kale who has started to scale seriously, nearing level 16. Jarvan's not doing too bad either. Why are you taking a 4v5 fight? Why are you split pushing when your team fight is stronger? It's interesting to me. Well executed by Nita to see the opportunity, to see that they can win a fight with the Kale split pushing bot all by herself, to get a lot of kills, some decent shutdowns. They get more gold than Crab Rave does just from that one turret, and they definitely come out on top from that exchange.
They are definitely fishing for some picks ahead of Infernal Drake, trying to get some here, but they're not quite able to finish off on Tusker, and he's got the sustain, he's going to heal himself back up, so then at that point, Crab Rave is going to come in here, clear that vision, but Sejong is looking to get that Wukong flank off, but both teams are starting to have a 5v5, which should still favor Crab Rave at this moment of the game.
Yeah, I think even after losing that fight, they're definitely still stronger 5v5. The trick here is that they need to actually 5v5. They need to have Best James Bond in the fight with them.
Diamond 5 got stuck in the Dragon Pit, actually just autoed the Dragon, so he's actually going to get autoed, and he does have to end up bolting over the wall right as Pepsi Dog goes in. Tark ult's going to pop in, gets all 5 of his teammates. At the same time, though, James Bond popped his kill ult during that, and actually he's going to die. Oh my goodness, that's a huge ult out of Sejong on the Wukong. Does still die for it, but that does let them kill 4 people. Earl King just sneak away there at the end, but that let the Infernal go over to Nita, but actually, Earl King's actually got him off the Dragon. He's in a 1v3 at this point. He did get the kill on the Lambo, and he's actually chases the rest of them off.
Yeah. Again, it's just good things happen, and then the throws happen after. Like, Nita won the fight really well. There was a lot of misplay on the part of Crab Rave's part. Best James Bond used the Kale ult when the Tark ult was active, so they double layered their invulnerability, making sure that one of those abilities wasn't useful at all. It was really well executed. The Zac and Wukong combo absolutely decimated Crab Rave. And then with the Jace still alive, they couldn't commit to doing Dragon or killing Jace. They kind of did a bit of both. And they lost their AD carry and didn't get the Dragon, even though they won a team fight right next to it. Just a little bit more communication on the part of their team could have prevented that problem. All you got to say is kill Jace or do Dragon. Zac's the healthy one there. Maybe he can chase Jace off because he's so low in health that if you just walk at the Jace, it's pretty easy to make it happen. And then Twitch and Ahri can knock down that Dragon. Instead, we see the AD carry who can get one shot by the Jace going after him and getting one shot by the Jace. Like,
it's
exactly
a surprise
Pikachu meme.
Exactly.
It was that someone decided to kill an AD carry, and that person kills the AD carry. What?
Yeah, it's a bit of a shocker how that worked out for him. And unfortunately, it does mean the Infernal Drake does go over to Crab Rave. Exactly. So basically, all that effort that they put into stopping that Infernal Drake was wasted, and they actually gave some. While they did probably get more gold out of the whole situation, they still lost that Infernal Drake, which is going to allow Crab Rave to scale further and better.
Yeah, I think if you're Crab Rave, you take that trade. It's not ideal. You don't want to lose a team fight or lose 4 lives or trade 4 for 2, but going down 600 gold for an Infernal Drake, like, you take that. You're going to get more than 600 gold in stats. You're going to get way more than that, especially when you have the base and the Gale.
Oh, and Hernandez was trying to clear some vision there, but the backpack and squad was waiting for that exact thing to happen, so they picked them off. Wukong is making his way up here, hopefully to stop the Baron, but that does leave James Bond alone in the bot lane to push with this Gale. And with the teleport, Sejong only has the Ignite. He has to be at the Baron before this starts.
Yeah, and I mean, if we've seen Best James on in the past, we know that there's no indication that this Kale teleport's going to come in when they need it. They have the TP advantage, so really, if you're Crab Rave, all you want to do, dance the Baron, don't do anything too eager, wait to see someone answer the Kale, and then use the Kale teleport to go take the Baron with a one-person or two-person advantage. So
And
now
they are
that
looking to
Wukong
start
has
this
shown
Baron.
behind, it's time to do the Baron. This is actually, for the first time, I think, that we've seen reasonable, decent shot calling. Except
Yep,
Kale's
but
not teleporting.
they're pulling off, and they pulled off before Wukong got there, so Wukong can walk right back to bot lane. James Bond gets us a little bit of chip damage, but not really anything out of this. So now they're just dancing. They're not using this teleport advantage to them. They're not using teleport to get there, but they're not using the pressure from it to force Wukong to stay to take the Baron. So the dance is actually kind of favoring Nita as far as that goes.
Yeah, I don't get why Crab Rave decided to recall. They have a TP advantage. They have the Kale in the right position. They haven't won a fight that like gave them a ton of gold that needs them to reset because they're actually weaker and haven't spent. Like, they have the pressure on the map. Everyone's in the perfect position, and then they say, never mind. Let's just base.
Yeah, so at this point, they have to reset again. They actually catch Montusker out with the binding, but there's no one there to actually help him with that. They are going to clear out the vision that he just put down. They do still have most control in the river here, but there are some wards hiding around the Baron they haven't quite caught yet, so they're actually kind of in full vision. Earl King, as soon as I say that, is able to spot out that ward, so they're going to continue clearing that out. James Bond is setting up the split push again, so hopefully round 2 of macro practice will go a little smoother here. We'll see what they do.
Yeah, this time they don't have a pick on a Morgana, though, so they wasted an opportunity. They wasted a window where they were going to be for sure stronger as soon as they saw the Wukong bot. All Kale had to do was teleport in, and they were going to be able to secure that Baron, or at least win a team fight.
And we don't see them really doing anything with the pressure. Both teams are staying around. Earl King is going to kind of get pop pushing back there, but they're not pushing mid. Kale's not really pushing in bot very hard against the Wukong. Actually does get a good chunk of damage there to hopefully get some pressure going. She does finally work down the tower with the Kale down there. So going to get the inhibit, looks like. So finally the 30-minute mark, it does flip over into Kale's favor to take the inhibit for free. And it looks like they're actually going to take the Baron at the same time. So it is going to work out for them, even though it wasn't smooth to begin with.
Why isn't Best James Bond teleporting? Where's the teleport?
No teleport. Oh, now the teleport is coming in as the tower going off the Zolt. Earl King's in the middle of the team fight. Doesn't quite get anybody. Hernandez does go down with the Kale ult on top of the turret. They do layer those infinite vulnerabilities correctly this time. Sejong does go in at the last moment, knocks up 3 people, but is able to kill the Jace. Doesn't quite get anything more than that. The Kale does trade her life for the Wukongs. They do get actually pull everybody back in. Actually, that means 3 people survive on the side of Nita, and only 1 survives on the side of Crab Rave. And they're actually going to chase Montusker down too. If he can land the Q here, he might actually be able to kill him. They aren't going to let him walk away.
Yeah, and if you're Nita at this point, you can do Baron. You have your 80 carry and your jungler alive. Your minions are going to crash the turret. I don't know why they didn't go to Baron immediately, but they've still got plenty of time to do it. The Kale teleport, once again, it came in, but it was too late again. As soon as that inhib was taken, all Kale had to do was walk out of range of Wukong and start channeling that teleport and be there for the start of that fight. And instead, it just was a 4v4. The Wukong got into that fight only a few seconds after the Kale did, even though the Kale was able to teleport into it. That's a sign that it's just not pulling the trigger on that summoner spell effectively enough. Some better communication from Crab Rave could have saved that.
And Montusker bombs in. He did try to get the Baron just as a kind of a cheeky steal. No really need to do that though. It's not a live or die Baron, so he jumps in and dies for nothing, which is going to give time for Nita to actually use his Baron and get their lanes pushed down, possibly look to get some advantages back.
Yeah, everyone wants to be a hero. Everyone wants to make the play. If Tark does steal that Baron away from the Zac with Smite, then pretty legendary, but the Zac with Smite, hard for a support Tarek to outsmite. Not much of a surprise there. I think that kill was just a wasted of a death. And now that Baron is up, you're trying to stall out that death timer a little harder. It doesn't look like Nita's looking to push while Tarek's dead anyway, so it's no big deal.
Yeah, it's not the end of the world, thankfully. They are able to pick up their second Infernal Drake, so all 4 Drakes have gone in favor of Crab Rave, which is happy for their comp. So even no matter how bad the macro decision has been so far, they do just have the simple stat checks given by the Drakes that have been gone their way so far. So as long as this game keeps going farther and farther, it is still going Crab Wave's direction. It's just not very pretty getting there.
Yeah, I'm not even sure, honestly, that Crab Rave does get stronger. We assume, it's easy to say with a Kale that, oh, well, Kale's the 1v9 hyper carry late game. But Kale's squishy. Kale has a shorter range than Twitch ult, and Kale has a lot of problem dealing with some of the frontline threats that Nita has. Whereas Lambo Mercy on this Twitch has been playing these fights a lot better than Best James Bond has on this Kale, and the Twitch has been able to melt through the side of Crab Rave very effectively. So I think maybe Twitch is actually the late game carry in this game. Keep an eye on Lambo Mercy in these upcoming team fights, because the Twitch has been really, really high damage output, and I wouldn't be surprised if Twitch is actually proving to be more effective than the Kale is.
Yeah, outside of a few minutes big, Lambo's positioning has been great during these fights, not allowing the dive coming from Jarvan to actually get onto him or get anything worthwhile out of it. So that is definitely the one thing that Nita can rely on. They are still looking to get some picks dancing around the top side here, just trying to avoid the super minions at the bot lane, let them get that free pressure down there. But at the same time, they're not using that pressure right now, so they are able to go clear these supers for free, most likely.
Yeah, there's Zach's in a good position. That's been swept, I believe. There's no words down, so Zach can get a good engage.
Oh, Pepsi gets a two-man knockout with both things, and Gary, then Lambo just shreds him with the rat-a-tat. So you were just talking about Lambo's positioning has been perfect, and he just destroys both the Syndra and the Jace on the side of Crab Rave.
Yeah, Twitch is always going to be able to be in position to follow up on a Zac engage, because the stealth allows him to get closer to fights than other AD carries might. With 2 people down now, Nita actually can push into the base. They've got the Baron, they've got the numbers advantage. They can look to take an inhibitor here if they play it right. You gotta watch out, because Kale and Jarvan both do still have ultimates, so getting too eager and diving is not going to end well, and looks like
he was looking for it. It is the level 17 Kale though at this point, so she's already passed that level 16 mark, so she does have a pretty okay time clearing these waves. So it looks like they are gonna be able to hang out of the turret right now. So it was got a little spooky there, but you know, just what we saw there, if they get a good engage off, they can blow up the front, like the carries of Crab Rave so quickly.
I would have liked to have seen Nita push that second wave into the turret. I know Kale has really good wave clear, but they still had death timers, and there was nothing to lose by staying pushed up with a numbers advantage.
Oh, actually, they catch Hernandez out, but they're went for burn Hernandez's flash, but they didn't really need to do anything there. She is going to get out perfectly safe. So it's still a little dancing in for, but the one thing we want to know is during all this dancing around and the Baron fight and everything like that, the inhib has respawned. There's one more super minion down there, but after that super minion's down, the map is pretty well evened out again.
Yeah, and it looks like Wukong can go clear that wave soon enough. Someone needs to go clear that wave at some point, otherwise that super minion's going to take the inhibitor again, which would be a dang shame, let me tell you. But yeah, Nita's back in this game. They've been fighting well. They've been working on these team fights better. Like I said, when we saw the draft, it's whoever engages the fight is going to be the one to win them. And right now, Pepsi Dog is getting the engages off, where Backpack is not able to quite find them. So the Zac jungle is actually looking like a really solid late game pick for the side of Nita. They're able to make it work.
Oh, they're looking to get a repeat. They actually get the charm on the Syndra. It dies before the Tarkle can actually pop, and that leaves Montesker in the middle. He is invulnerable for the moment, but not long enough to actually get him out to safety. That's 2 people down. Meanwhile, James Bond is going to try and get the bot lane or the top lane turret and actually trade get the inhib as well. So they are going to get something out of this. In the meantime, going to trade some more deaths for it most likely, unless he gets something really fancy there. Just blow up Hernandez 1v2. Most likely going to die after that, as the John's going to pop in here as well. They do get a kill over to Lambo at that point. So that is an inhibitor going down.
Yeah, the issue from Nita is that they're winning fights and then not dealing with the split push, right? So they get 2 kills, and then they send 2 or 3 people to go answer the Kale. And then the numbers advantage that you have from winning that fight disappears because you have too many champions sitting inside your own base. Ahri is the only one pushing to take an inhibitor after they've won a team fight. And sure, I mean, Earl King is not going to be able to get back to stop her because there's Zac in the way, but
he's going to try and 1v2. Oh, they actually are going to catch out Earl King. He does burn the flash to try and get away. Sejong is going to jump in here as well on top of Diamond 5. They are going to get that pick off. So they actually might be able to deny this Elder Drake. They definitely do not want to give the Elder Drake. They actually are still going in. They pull Von Tusker back into the middle of Lambo. Lambo shreds them down for no time. They're going to look like they're going to pull right back, go straight to the Elder. So they had this free. I'm not quite sure what's going on here because Crab Rave has the advantage of having the supers on the opposite side of the map, which just buys you time to dance around the opposite objective and lets you get to that. Didn't do that though.
Yeah, they lost an inhibitor turret too. So they lose an inhibitor turret, they lose Elder Drake. While they have an inhibitor, it's because there's still people dead. They were walking out of the base at the time that Earl King and Backpack got caught out. So they were just a little too impatient there. They wanted to poke their head into the river sooner than they had the ability to. They didn't know where the side of Nita was. They didn't know what they were going to be up to. And then they give away an Elder Drake, which in their hands would have been so much stronger.
Yeah, at this point, and while even though they don't get as much out of this Elder Drake, they do deny it from Crab Rave, which is huge. With that 4 Drake stacked up, that's one objective you don't want to give over to him. And they do still get some minor stats out of it and the true damage buff out of it as well. And it gives them time to go back to the top line. They can continue to push out this top lane a lot more safely while staying close to the Baron to make sure Crab Rave can't get it for free.
And of course, with one Elder Drake, second Elder Drake actually becomes stronger. It's something that's easy to forget. It's a change for Season 9 that doesn't really come into play very often because you're not used to seeing a team take a second Elder Dragon in a game. But if it does come to that at 46 minutes, then Nita's second Elder Dragon will make them much stronger than just the first. It lasts longer and it does a little more damage, so that's something to keep an eye out now. Second Elder Drake will be a good objective for both teams. It'll make them both stronger. But it looks like we're now looking to the Baron. Nita has the Elder Dragon. They're stronger in the fight. Kale is split pushing bot lane with teleport. Watch for that teleport to get channeled.
They are pinging, he's just going to go straight for the inhib at this point. They are going to trade that inhib for the Baron. It looks like they are going to try and poke him off a little bit, see if they can get anything for it. Actually, they go in at the last moment to try and steal the Baron, and backpack slide right back out. Cage walked too far forward, though. Val got popped for it, but he is going to survive a little bit. Meanwhile, Kale's able to take... Oh my goodness! James Bond just blows up the Diamond 5 on the R. He actually just might be able to end the game. Yeah, they're not going to be able to recall in time. He does. Oh, he tries to flash away. Doesn't quite fancy enough to do that. So they are going to hang on for just a moment here. Backpack just barely going to get away from Sejong, and that's going to leave him in a really bad spot between the Syndra and the Jace. He might look to get a kill out of this still. Does get dunked in. Pops the Guardian Angel. Pops his own stopwatch there and goes down, unfortunately. So the game's not quite over yet. They did get the Baron still, but that's another inhib down, and there's no inhib turret left.
Yeah, the answers to the full AP Kale getting to full build at level 18, it's hard to find someone to answer that split push.
And they were able to catch out Earl King. Earl King got a little greedy and tried shoving by himself while the rest of his team was recalling, so that is going to delay Crab Rave's push a little bit longer. We are getting to that point again. Really long death timer. He's out for another 50 seconds still, so even though there's 2 inhibs down, there's not going to be really much they can do with it at the moment.
Yeah, it's interesting. I can't say I think I've ever seen a game in which a team takes Elder Dragon and then Baron back to back and is still losing. But somehow Nita has managed to make that one happen.
It's definitely the power of the split push there. I actually thought the game was going to end there real quick with James Bond, but he wasn't able to flash out at the right time. Kind of took some extra turret damage as well. So the game is going to extend a little bit longer. It definitely is looking in Crab Rave's favor, though.
Yeah, and they're in the driver's seat. The Kale is so hard to deal with. Unlike last game, there's really no answer or wave clear that's actually safe. We saw Diamond 5 get killed by about 2.5 Kale autos. So we know that Ahri can't answer the Kale, especially not with TP. The Camille actually was a more effective answer last game, surprisingly. So with that in mind, on Crab Rave's side, it's just the fact that they're not playing around these objectives cleanly. They keep getting too eager. They're not using their split push to its fullest. They keep engaging fights where they're at a numbers disadvantage. And while Kale's getting objectives, it's just slower than it needs to be for Crab Rave to close this game out. They should be much stronger. I don't get why they feel the need to push themselves towards objectives when they know that they're weaker at that fight.
Yeah, it's definitely very strange. As you mentioned, it's kind of strange to see a team take Elder, take Baron twice, and they're actually up. They were down 4k gold at one point in the game. Now they're up 4k gold. They actually do get the pick off the James Bond. Oh, he actually is able to get the off in time. They also get Montusker ult at the same time. Overlayered the invulnerability again, but it does let them get out safely. FC Dog's going to pop out the pass there. Meanwhile, Lambo's just going to destroy them along with Sejong. They just get all those knockdowns, all that damage. Backpack tries to dunk onto Wukong, does get the kill there, but goes down shortly after. Pepsi Dog's able to pull back in Cage, get ready to get an ace here in just a moment. They're able to catch up to him, but that's going to leave them 4v5 at the very least, or 4v1 at least. He actually gets the Q on again, forces the flash out of Cage, but there's no turret here to protect the inhibitor.
Yeah, with a near clean ace, it's just a great engage from Nita. We see Crab Rave pushing up without vision. They get flanked by the Zac and the Twitch from the jungle. Kale's walking into that jungle entrance when all you need to do is run it down mid and wait for the super minions to...
I think it's game over.
But instead, yeah, it looks like Nita actually is going to look to end the game. They've got the minion wave. They've got a Zac to tank in front of the Twitch. The 80 carries here to do the objective damage that they need. Syndra's having a hard time getting there.
Come on, Tetris, come on, get the stun on the Hernandez. Yeah, that's not gonna be it. They got nothing. Oh, they actually pop Lombo! Lambo's not able to do it! They're actually gonna get stun Pepsi Dog here. He's gonna try and whack it a little bit. They just go ult for some reason, try to get out of himself alive. But they're not able to end the game! They don't protect their AD carry!
And now we see the Kale TP coming into the bot lane.
Oh, but he kind of teleported by something.
Exciting. They
He does have the ult. Oh, goodness, he gets almost blown up by that. They actually overlay their CC a little bit. He does get knocked up by Sejuani, but he does still die for it. So, while Rave had a chance again to get a lead, they kind of die for it, but they are going to have primary advantage over the Eldritch is just about to spawn.
They are up. The death timers are long. Before that Kale death, they were up 5-on-2. All they had to do was walk down mid, tank the inhibitor turret, and end the game. Instead, Kale teleports bot, dies, and they're going to take an Elder Dragon instead. It's an avenue to win the game, but I really think Rave this time could have just gone for the Nexus. They won the fight that would have won them the Arium there, but they're instead backing off and trying again. We now have open Nexuses for both teams. We have 2 Barons for Nita, 1 Elder Drake for Nita, 1 Elder Drake for Rave. Everyone's gonna be up. Inhibitors are down all over the place. Inhibitors are actually respawning now for Nita.
I'm curious to see. If I was Lambo at this point, with how chaotic this games have gone and that he didn't get protection there when they needed the most, he could look for a back door. There's no vision in Rave's base to see him sneaking in. Outside that one red ward on the south entrance there, he could actually sneak in there as Twitch, who gets that movement speed coming out of, or that attack speed buff coming out of stealth, and he could actually destroy that Nexus if he looked to do it. And I think that's actually what they're looking to do.
If you take a team fight down in the middle of the lane, then Twitch can sneak right past it. It does look like it's on their mind. This is pretty spicy.
Yeah, the dancing around Baron also is another reason why they're in this part of the map. They have no supers coming their direction, and they actually find Backpack by himself. They're not able to get anything on him and do waste the Zackle for only a slide and glide out of them. Montusk burn his flash, Lemon burn his flash. They do pop the ult. They're trying to get in here. They're not really landing anything. Montusk actually, Hernandez does get blown up. Backpack goes 1v2 in the back. All of a sudden, though, Sejuani blows up the kill, doesn't have his ult, and they're actually going 1v3 in the back alongside Pepsi. He gets knocked out of there. Backpack's very low as well. That means Pepsi is going to die, though. That is so far 1-for-2 in favor of Rave, but that does leave them very low, unable to do anything.
And Ari is walking down the mid lane towards the Nexus.
Oh my goodness, he's actually going for it. She has a super with her. What? The Rave is not too far behind. Ari, does she still have her ult? She does not have her ult. She does not have that to get out of there. They are going to come back and catch her. Little different on this side. Twitch is here as well. He just needs to back out of there. If he gets caught in here as well, it's going to be game over. And King actually flashes in. He pops Lambo. Actually, no, he doesn't. He still does get the kill on the Lambo. Well, that's how they do pop the Guardian Angel. So Jong has the Guardian Angel still. He's going to fly out. That shockwave does barely miss. He is able to blast man out of there almost. He just barely dodges. Oh no, he does go down. Guardian Angel finally. They're going to claim this kill. Now it should be game over, right, Cole?
You'd think that. You definitely think that this is game over, but Goldline, until I see the Nexus die, I'm not going to believe it. Yeah, it's game over.
Okay, they're all walking to the bot side. They do get stalled up by the Hernandez snare. They're trying to go, but they are gathering for the bot side. It's going to be 5v2. Right now, they are grouping up here. Kale's going to come right down to mid. She's ignoring that wave, thankfully. And they're going to burn this inhibitor down. And they should be going for the Nexus here. It looks like they are going to go for it. Pepsi is going to try it all in the back. They're actually just going to pop their vulnerability. Anybody's focusing the Nexus down. He does pull away. He pulls 2 into the fountain. Doesn't quite get it, though. And it is going to be the end of the game for Rave.
I believe it now. Rave 2-0. Not clean, but 2-0. They made it happen.
That is a 2-0.
All it took was 48 minutes and giving up 2 Barons and an Elder Drake and an inhibitor in both of their Nexus turrets. And almost the game. They almost lost. They were really close to losing a couple times. But they prevailed in this 2-game ARAM set. This time the Kale scaled and then also died a lot, but the rest of the team around the Kale was able to pull it out. Props to Lambo Mercy in particular still. Pulling that game on a Twitch, he was really the reason why I think Nita was still alive in this game, doing so much damage in those team fights. Really great engages from Pepsi Dog too. The two of them were trying their best to hold on, but against a Kale who doesn't really care about her life, it's hard to win a game. You really need to have a teleport on your top laner, I think, and an answer to that Kale if you want to win a game that gets to 35 plus minutes. And they lost their base slowly but steadily to the Kale, and then they got a little too aggressive once they started winning these fights, gave up their lives at the Nexus. They were so close to winning the game, and instead they died. Lambo Mercy getting killed by that Jace W was so unfortunate, and then that was it, and Crabtree was able to walk down and end the game. So props to them. They pull out the 2-0. It's hard to say that was much more than a constant fiesta, but Crabtree has proven at the very least that they are the champions of the fiesta.
Yeah, it was definitely Fiesta, a very entertaining game as far as action goes. If you're a fan of Macro, you probably stopped watching at some point. But everybody else who stayed here, I loved it. I thought it was fun to watch overall still. Who do you think actually played the best in this series? Because everybody went hard, to put it politely.
Yeah, that's true.
I think Earl King would be MVP. His Zillion, he had a few moments he got caught out in the first game, but most of his ults were pretty clutch, and he kited around fights really well. And in this game here, he's probably a huge reason of why they had such an early big lead to work with, destroying the 1v the against Ari, and when they tried lane swapping against him, he didn't care. He still took down the Wukong as well. So that'd probably who I would pick for MVP would be Earl King.
If I'm going to pick someone, I think I'm going to pick Backpack. The Sejuani game, especially the Sejuani early game, was really clean. Getting the bot lane ahead, getting some good engages off, even though he whiffed. Maybe a few too many Sejuani Rs. it was still good overall. He got some picks that won the game at the very end. And he was pretty great on Jarvan too. Some of these engages in the mid game was really awesome. I agree that it's either Backpack or Earl King. The two of them definitely played a little better than the rest. They were able to pull these games out. Backpack says I was lagging in Twitch chat. I'm not gonna believe that one, Backpack.
No, I mean if he was, I think there were 10 people lagging in this game. Honestly, there was a bit of insanity going on here.
No, brain lag, dude. Brain lag.
Yeah, right, brain lag. The brain, as Reaper would say for C9, brains weren't quite turned on. But it was entertaining. We'll put it that way. But standings-wise, that does let CR get their first actual win. Their first win was actually a forfeit, so that does put them at 2-1 in their groups, and it does kind of help them put them in the upper end of their group in Group D. Nita, that is a little bit rough. That puts them down to 0-3. Not quite out of it yet. It's still super early in the split, but, you want to start getting wins sooner than later.
Yeah, it's better late than never. Getting wins is good. That's not the cleanest way to win any kind of game, but whatever works. At the end of the day, you got the match win. You're climbing the standings. So hats off to Crab Rave. I would say well executed, but it was like okay executed. Could have been done better, but you can't complain when you come out of the day with a win. So well done to them. In any case, we are now done. They have taken the series. I have been Cole. My co-caster has been Goldline, thank you. I was like blanking for a moment.
It's okay.
Goldline has been guessing. Our streamer has been Joe. Thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.